Oh. Fuck, it starts with a fucking glitch, Jasper. Starts with a fucking glitch, doesn't it? You absolute sausage. Anyway, honest to God. Sorry about that, humans. Honestly, it doesn't matter how much I try, there's always a bloody glitch. But anyway, hello humans. Welcome to the stream, my podcast, my desperate need for attention. This is my show. My name is Bodach and I was exiled here on Earth, framed for crimes I didn't commit. This is my thing. I ramble, I chit-chat, I fight technical glitches, and I've probably been neuralised by the Men in Black multiple times, considering there's not a rabbit hole not worth my time. I wear my tinfoil hat with pride, never shy of speaking my mind. Join me, help me, enable my bad choices. Maybe then I will finally have a stream without a glitch. I live in a castle, it's not mine, don't know who owns it, never met them. But I've been here for years and no one checks. My man cave is here. I've got my own gym, and there's this weird mirror down in the basement that shows me memes. I host my own talk show where I invite guests on for a chin wag. I also host a quiz show, Silly Sausages, and sometimes I try a bit of open mic down at the local comedy club. I also have the honour of being a regular guest speaker at the Institute for Science, Memes, Entertainment and Gaming. You will find my previous Smeg Talks on all my channels. I'm not alone. My mate Jasper is behind the scenes. He hides ears from my world, but you don't want to know about that for your own safety. Jasper is my producer, my editor, my security, my driver, my cook, my secret Santa, and my drug dealer. I stream on Twitch, YouTube, Kick, X, Facebook, Rumble, Trovo. No long D-Live. I've ditched D-Live, don't do that one anymore. And you can also follow me on... I'm actually live streaming on TikTok for as long as it lets me, but you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, BitChute and Odyssey. Head to the Bodach.show. I forgot to update the thing. Man, I've really started tonight off well. This is... You'd think once I got to like, what are we on now, episode 14, I would stop making such outrageous rookie mistakes, but you'd be wrong. Let me just try this again. No, it didn't work. Right. Fucking hell. Come on. Okay, let's try that one. Bear with me as I just sort of fix things, which I should have done before going live, but because I'm such a noob. Yeah, anyway, go to the Bodach.show. That's the links. It's my website, built myself. That's if you have accounts on anything, please follow me on them, even if you don't use the platform, because it helps me grow. Feel free to jump in a chat. I will get around to reading it, and I'll do my very best to reply. And feel free to clip and share anything you see. Tonight we've got some knowledgeable fisticuffs, a little bit of current events and all that nonsense. We've got a lot to crack on with, so I am going to blaze through it tonight. There's a lot to cover. It's not exactly a slow news week, is it? But yeah, wait, hang on. I'm struggling here. Yeah, and if we manage to blaze through them in an orderly time, we've got some bro code moderation. Of course, I am the owner of thebrocode.org, and I'm also the moderator for the bro code subreddit. So we're going to see if there's anything. Let's see if anything's come up that needs moderating this week. But yeah, we need to crack on because there's a lot to get through. Please don't bloody tingle, Jasper. I was fucking tingling, Jasper.
Knowledgeable Fisticuffs. Tomorrow's news in 2 days from today.
If you are watching this, you are part of the BKWA. That's Bodach's Keyboard Warrior Army. Bakwa. Fighting lies, tyranny and corruption. One meme at a time. Legacy media is dying, my friend. And memes are now the world's #3 news source behind Elon Musk's X and Chuck Norris movies. If this segment isn't illegal, it will be eventually. Welcome to Knowledgeable Fisticuffs, your sword and shield against globalist scum. As I said, I got loads to crack on with, so we'll just fucking rattle through this. We're just gonna rattle through this. How can it be legal that the guy that wrote the TikTok ban bill invested 1.1 million in Meta just before he released the bill? It's funny that, isn't it? How many politicians have a miraculously, eerily ability to invest in things just before some major political moves may affect stock prices? Of course, it wasn't banned. In the end, it wasn't banned. It went down for what, half a day? TikTok? I don't know. Heroes don't dance during a tragedy. Psychopaths do. Absolutely.
So, for no particular reason,
This is Nate Thompson! He doesn't know this. He'll have absolutely no awareness of this, but he is my nemesis. He is my lefty. We just want to hear what he has to say.
On Trump's inauguration. Trump has been elected as the 47th President of the United States, and I don't think we should lose sight, recognition, or acknowledgement of the reality that he only ran for president again because he knew he was in so much legal trouble. If he hadn't been...
There's a lot of people that think this. The people think that the only reason Donald Trump ran for re-election is to get out of trouble. The only reason. The only reason. I mean, if it was his only reason, why would he be so hell-bent on pushing through all these policies that he thinks are going to help people? You know what I mean? He's only running for re-election to avoid prison. But while he's there, he might just try and fix things. Like, makes no sense.
Elected president and therefore become politically and legally immune from further prosecution, potentially jail, he would be facing repercussions for...
You know, just... I cannot express in words how dense this opinion is. Like, the only possible reason? I mean, he has many other ways of staying out of prison. He's a billionaire, for God's sake. Billionaires don't go to prison like normal people. And like I said, if it was the only reason, then why is he so hell-bent on pushing through all these policies that populists think would help Americans? Why try and secure the border? Why leave all these corrupt institutions like the WHO and whatnot? Like, why? It makes no sense. He says he wants to do it for the betterment of the American people. You might not agree with his ideas, but that's what he says he's trying to do. And then he gets into office and does exactly what he said he was going to do. But he only did it to avoid prison. Yeah, okay. Okay, Aid.
his folly. So that is what is happening here, is everybody is flying to DC, people like Liz Truss, Suella Braverman, Lawrence Fox, and they are there like clapping seals, applauding a man who is only going for that job. He's only there. He only bothered to remain in the race after those 2 assassination attempts, when anyone else would have gone, do you know what, this is probably not worth it. He only...
That's your own cowardice speaking there. You would probably run away crying if someone took a shot at you. How about Donald Trump represents something that goes against certain powerful interests? And that's why people were trying to literally kill him.
Bothered to go for that job to avoid jail. But there they are, flying out there.
Also, any other president, every inauguration, key political figures from all around the world go and see the inauguration. Whether that's Obama, Biden, anyone. And they'll do it again next time the Americans elect a new president. But when it's Donald Trump's election, they're like clapping seals. They're just clapping seals, sucking up to Trump. It's not, when they went to Biden, they're just there to support Biden. Well done, Biden. But not with him. With Trump, they're clapping seals. They're sucking up. The bias with this man is infuriating.
With their red caps, celebrating him. What does that say? Even if you park the legal aspect of it, which are obvious, that is like it should just be historical record. That is what he did. That is what he's achieved. Actually, weirdly,
the reason it's not part of the historical record, Aid, is because you're wrong.
To my mind, it's more impressive that he managed to stay out of jail by doing this than it is that he is any sort of, successful politician or great business mind. He's not. If you read up on his backstory, it's, hilariously unimpressive.
So it's mentioning the backstory. Hang on, let's just fact check this a second. Let's just track it, right? And hang on, I'll be with you very shortly. So I don't know what he's getting at. But I think what he's talking about is how Trump's been bankrupt 6 times. So he's had 6 businesses go bankrupt, right? And all the lefties they always point at that, right? Donald Trump's had 6 businesses go bankrupt. And out of context, that kind of makes sense, right? That makes sense. Like, if you just say it out loud, he's gone bankrupt 6 times, or 6 of his businesses have gone bankrupt. And in that context, at face value, you have to be like, maybe Trump isn't the best businessman. Maybe it's all a lie. And that's what I think he's getting at when he says look into his backstory. And he did get a loan off his dad to get going. Took a few million or something like that. We don't all get that opportunity, do we? We get a massive lump sum of money at the beginning. But let me add some extra context to the equation, because the Aid Thompsons of the world, this is how they operate. Lefties are always narrowing context. They're always shifting the context to make it appear like it supports their bias. So he's been bankrupt 6 times. What have I told you? He's started 250 companies. You say, he's been bankrupt 6 times, and you may be led to believe, and that's what they do. These lefties like Aid, they lead you to believe. So you're being led to believe that he's an awful businessman because 6 of his businesses have gone bankrupt. But when you point out the fact that he has started 250 businesses, over 250 businesses, and yet apply that context, now you got something different to think about. He started over 250 businesses and only 6 of them have gone bankrupt, leaving over 240 businesses successful. So with the correct context and not the narrowed, redefined context of the Aid Thompsons of this world, what the obvious becomes is that Trump is in fact an incredibly successful and prolific businessman. But yeah. But
we won't go into that now. What else do we
That's what I think he was talking about. When they say look into his business, when they talk about him as a businessman, they always try and disparage Trump's business acumen by mentioning the bankruptcies. That's what I think he was on about. I might be wrong about
think
that.
about this inauguration? I think it's a weird time probably for E. Jean Carroll, the lady that accused him of R-wording her.
And she was absolutely and completely discredited. He didn't rape anyone. He hasn't been prosecuted for any rape. It's quite safe to say that Donald Trump is not a rapist, and everybody who's openly called Donald Trump a racist, well, a few of them have been sued by Donald Trump for defamation, and guess what? Donald Trump won, and they now owe Donald Trump damages. So be careful, Aid, when you use the rapist and the rape accusations, because others who are more famous than you have done that, and they've lost, and they now owe him money in damages. You see, this nonsense that these lefties, the Trump derangement syndrome is insufferable. It's insufferable. Like, they're beyond facts and reason now. It's just nonsense.
She accused him. It went through a civil suit. He was found liable. It was deemed by a jury and a judge that it was significantly more likely to have happened than not.
You're really, really playing with the facts there, Aid. He wasn't found liable of rape. There's no such thing as being liable for rape, you fucking idiot. The judge said he thought, it's the judge's opinion, and again, just because you're a judge doesn't mean you're not biased, doesn't mean you don't have Trump derangement syndrome. The Trump just thought he was a racist. The jury did not find him guilty, and those who keep calling him a racist are losing defamation lawsuits. Be very careful.
So that's why they say he is an adjudicated R-word. I think of her, I wonder what she thinks. Like, I wonder how it feels to know that your attacker, that the predator that did those things to you is now...
Listen to this language he uses. The predator. The woman was full of shit, Thompson? She lied. She was used as a tool to try and keep him away from the presidency by a group of powerful people who don't want him anywhere near it. And you can see now, we'll get to it later, you'll see later on why.
Back on the world stage, in DC, being applauded by women. Like all...
Yeah, Trump, the sexist, racist, misogynist, all the rest of it, who's half of his cabinet are women. Yeah. Doesn't really add up, does it, Aid? Don't let don't pay too much attention to it, because you might start suffering from a bit of cognitive dissonance when you realise Trump is nothing. None of the things you're saying.
All of your Marjorie Taylor Greens, your Lauren Boeberts, your Liz Trusses, your...
He's right about Lauren Boebert, though. Fuck me, that woman's a nutter. That woman is a nutter. Fuck me. Of course, he loves to focus on the nutters on the right, even though there's loads of nutters on the left. That's who you're talking
to. Isabel Oakeshott's... I actually don't know if Isabel Oakeshott's out there, but like, you get the idea, right? Right-wing commentary at right-wing politicians.
And he'll always say right-wing. Again, Aid Thompson and all the other lefties, somewhere in the conversation, they've sort of all agreed amongst themselves in their echo chamber that simply being a right-wing thing is evil. It's not. There's nothing wrong with being right-wing in the slightest. It's just we all want a better life. We all want the world to be better. We all want higher standards, better living standards. That's all we want. We all want the same thing. It's just right-wing conservatives have a different idea on how to achieve it than left-wing liberals. Calling things right-wing is not a derogatory term. 3/4 of the world seem to acknowledge this, considering 3/4 of the world, like, when you actually take about the fucking globe in general, most of the world is incredibly traditional and conservative, apart from a few insane liberal Western countries. Conservatism and right-wing leadership is the predominant force around the world, apart from a few left-wing pockets in the West. That's what I mean. These fucking idiots, they just think, oh, it's right-wing, therefore evil. Sorry, no. They're allowed to be right-wing, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Right-wing thought leaders are there.
Right-wing thought leaders. The right-wing thought conversation is the most intellectually diverse conversation there is. The left-wing conversation is an echo chamber.
Whether male or female, applauding this guy in full knowledge of the things that he is not just accused of, but has been successfully prosecuted and found liable for.
He has not been successfully prosecuted, you fucking idiots. And I wish him all the success in the world, Ed. I hope his channel grows big. I hope it grows big enough to get Donald Trump's attention and he becomes another one who loses a defamation lawsuit against Trump for calling him a rapist. He hasn't been found guilty of rape. He didn't fucking rape the person.
It's just bewildering.
His entire worldview is this. So let's move on. I'm going to cover him. I've noticed that his latest tactic to try and get engagement is to pick on right-wing creators and then try and discredit them and whatnot. And the only thing is about Aid, though, when he does this, he has to find a little snippet of them saying something and take it completely out of context for him to create content. I don't need to do that. I just need to show people what he says. Evening, Bodach. Hello, Jerry, the weed ninja. It's insufferable. We're going to cover Aid from now on because he's basically the personification of what the Guardian and the media think. That's his whole worldview comes from.
Isn't it? That, like 15 years ago, if I asked you, do you think a person could make a political comeback after being accused of X, Y, Z, A, B, C, all of the things, the myriad things that he's been...
Bill Clinton was accused of rape and he managed to have a political comeback and carry on. But he's a lefty, so we won't talk about that, will we, Aid?
Accused of. You would never say yes. You would be like, no, that's whoever that happens to, they're done. They're toast. There's no coming back from that.
He doesn't seem to understand what Trump has actually been found guilty of. Like, yeah, what Aid Thompson's saying right now is perfectly true. If somebody had been found guilty of rape, do you really expect him to be able to win the presidency? No, absolutely not. And that's not what happened here.
I know politics is dirty, but, there's some red lines there. When the public find out that you've been up to this...
Anyway, that's enough of Aid Thompson's Trump derangement syndrome. We will cover more of his content week by week because it's going to get unhinged. We've got 4 years of this, so let's not burn out tonight. But it's the fucking nonsense of it. He was accused, yeah. Rich and famous people are accused of all sorts all the fucking time. And then they go, oh, but you settled. Yeah. Because sometimes it's less hassle to just fucking settle it and make it go away. He'll never mention the Clintons. He'll never mention the Clintons and any lefties that get accused of it. He'll never mention the, 50 Labour people at this point? 50 Labour MPs, his Labour, the Labour he loves. They've been found with child porn on their laptops. 50 of them. That's the current list of known nonces in the Labour Party. 50 of them. He'll make loads of fucking stuff about Trump and the stuff he's not guilty for, and he will never, ever, ever speak about the stuff the Labour MPs and other prominent lefties are guilty of. Anyway, let's move on. God damn it, the Trump derangement syndrome. 60-year-old Gloria Lynn Mandich, climate change activist, arrested on suspicion of arson near Stake Park, 23.6 miles from Pacific Palisades. I love the fact that they really, really want to try and blame the Californian fires on climate change. And because of the world now and there's cameras everywhere and all these arsonists that the arsonists are filmed and they're getting found guilty of arson. I'm sure it's climate change. 97% of scientists agree with whoever is funding them, correct? We live in dangerous times now. People think scientists are magic. They're magic people. They're not. They're the same idiots we all went to school with. It's just they decided to go and be a scientist. I think people get this illusion of a scientist and what actually is their job. What do they do day to day, a scientist? Not many people really think about it. They go to work and someone will say, do this task. And it'll be a tiny compartmentalized task. It's just do this and figure that out. And then they do it. And then once it's done, they move on to the next task. It's not that much different from a burger flipper. I mean, obviously, there's a massive difference in terms of, you know, the scope of of the work they're going to do. I mean, a burger flipper is going to flip burgers all day, while a scientist is going to go from thing to thing. So obviously, the scientist has got a much broader spectrum. The point I'm trying to make is, scientists don't just go to work and do what the fuck they want. Imagine you're working at McDonald's, right? And you go there and go, actually, do you know what? I've been thinking about this new recipe. I think the customers are going to love it. Your boss is going to say, no, shut the fuck up and make the Big Macs, right? Science is the same. That's what I'm trying to say. They don't just go in and think, oh, look, I've got this idea, you know. I think it actually might cure cancer. I think it might even cure climate change. The boss is going to be, okay, good for you now. Shut the fuck up and put the cultures in the Petri dish and tell me what happens when you introduce blah, blah, and document that. They're not just doing what they want to do. They're not just out there trying to fix and solve everything. There's somebody with money funding their research, and what they want from that research is something that will help them make more money. And if that scientist can't do that, can't do the little bits that contribute towards a profitable outcome, then the scientist loses their job. Losing their job. Do you think like people out there trying to cure things? Nah, they're trying to find treatments. Trying to find treatments. They could solve, if there was a climate crisis, they could solve it straight away. Easy. But that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for technology that's really profitable to make. If the solution is cheap and abundant and unprofitable, they're not going to roll it out. They'll roll out the expensive one. You can see it with the solar and the wind farms. The cheapest way to solve the energy crisis is nuclear energy. It's that simple. It's that simple. Build a bunch of nuclear power plants. It's the cheapest way to create abundant electricity with a carbon neutral footprint. The problem is when you go full nuclear, the profit margin's tiny because the population aren't going to accept high energy bills when they know these nuclear power plants can produce an abundance of energy on the cheap. They're going to expect much cheaper energy prices. So instead we get solar and wind farms that are incredibly expensive and inefficient. The carbon footprint created making them isn't offset in the lifespan of the bloody stuff. It costs more, it creates a bigger carbon footprint to make solar and wind farms than what is offset by using them. But there's loads of money for the steel industry, there's loads of money for the oil industry. You know what I mean? And it's you get all these government subsidies to build it, so that gives the electric companies loads of money, and because it's so inefficient, they can charge a premium on it. It's a really profitable endeavor. And the energy prices keep going up and up, and the energy companies keep making more and more money. All that profit disappears if they solve the problem, and the problem short to mid-term can be solved with nuclear energy. Scientists are always trying to make someone else richer. They're not actually trying to fix and solve things. That's not the job they have. That's not the job they have. If scientists really do want to revolutionize the world, they need to somehow find the funding and then go off and do it on their own. That's the truth.
So my son says it's the Amazon killer because the 17-year-old Axelar bought the knife online through Amazon. This is utter nonsense. Every kitchen drawer has half a dozen weapons that could be used for mass murder. The government are saying they're bringing tough legislation. This is all a cover for the fact that I was right last July when I said that I suspected this man was known to the authorities. He was. Prevent, the anti-terrorism group, didn't do their job. The truth was denied from us. The police were told they couldn't tell us about the man's background. Now we learn even the Conservative Party front bench knew the truth. No one was told, despite on previous occasions us all knowing whether the person had been known to the authorities. This murderer is a terrorist, even if Keir Starmer won't call him it. And frankly, what we're seeing is one of the biggest cover-ups in the history of our country. We're living in two-tier Britain. It's a disgrace, and I'm going to fight against it hard.
Good on you, Nigel. Have you noticed that Nigel Farage gets tarnished with the brush of liar, yet he's the only one that's ever telling the truth? While the Tories and Labour just won't stop fucking lying. They won't stop lying. Honest to God, that kid. I think there's more coming for that. Trump plan to deport migrants a disgrace, says the Pope. He's not this fucking satanic pedo with his little snake mansion in the Vatican. You're not a fucking Christian. The Christian preaches values. The Christian literally has borders. The Bible literally preaches borders and taking care of yourself. But yeah. Have you ever seen the Vatican stuff? It's all satanic symbolism. The main hall's shaped like the head of a snake. And behind the Pope where he sits, it's all snakes and demons and shit. The Vatican isn't the centre and the symbol and the bastion of Christianity. It's the toxic satanic cult that's bastardised it. Of course, if you're a real Christian, you know that a church is not the place of worship. It's not the place of worship, especially the Vatican as a church of all churches. If you're a real Christian, you know that God is with you no matter where you are. You don't need to be called to church and to give money and all that kind of shit. That's satanic. Of course, you've got to let the crime and the rampant rape happen, haven't you? Can't deport them. The Labour Party is alleged to be planning to abolish voter ID laws and grant voting rights to foreign nationals. Of course they are. Wasn't it just last week? In This Week in A. Thompson last week, he was trying to claim that there isn't a plot to get illegals to be able to vote. But this is what they do. It's what lefties always do. They want 16-year-olds to vote as well. They're fucking idiots. 16-year-olds. I think the voting age should be increased to 21. I don't think you should be allowed to vote unless you either got a job or a family. Right? Because at the end of the day, if you're a sponge, why are you getting a say? Why are you getting a say? I hate this idea that it's like one vote, like one person, one vote. That's such a shit system. It's not fair. The people who are putting into society should be the ones that vote. That means if you've got a job and you're paying tax, you should be voting. If you're in higher education, yeah, sure, you should get to vote. If you've got a family, the consequences of policy are going to affect you more than anyone else, so you definitely get a vote. But if you're some 18-year-old lad and you're uneducated, you haven't even had a job for a year yet, no, you shouldn't vote. I know that's a radical view, but it's true. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know what you're voting for until you've either got a family or you're paying tax. Or both. If you're a taxpayer or you have a family, the consequences of your votes affect you more than anyone else. Especially if you're a foreign national. 16-year-olds and foreign nationals, no, you shouldn't be voting. of course, let the mass migration in. They know they come here for free gear here. They want the free stuff. Let them vote, and what they're going to vote for? Free stuff.
Of course, I wouldn't want Donald Trump round for dinner, but don't underestimate the danger to the world if Trump is re-elected this time round. I'm anti-Trump. I would like to send my warmest congratulations to President Trump on his inauguration as the 47th President of the United States.
He's a weak man, isn't he, Keir Starmer? He's a weak man. Weak men create bad times. Bad times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. We had it too good for too long in the United Kingdom, and this is the kind of weak man that we've produced, and he now leads a country. Flip flop clear. Flip flop gear to gear. Hang on, it's quite a tongue twister. Flip floppy free gear Kia. That's basically him. He doesn't have morals. He doesn't have morals. Say what you want about Trump, but he's consistent. Say what you want about Farage, but he's consistent. This is a disingenuous man. Everything he said he wouldn't do, he's done. He's raised tax. He's fucked the elderly. He's given Ukraine more money than the NHS. Honestly. Weak men. One of the stunning photos from wildfires in Los Angeles. Isn't it interesting how the steel beams are still intact? Building 7, anyone? These ones didn't collapse in free fall speed, did they? The steel beams are still there, just like every other building that burns to the ground with steel beams. The steel beams persist. I need to do a 9/11 video. Despite 2 world wars and hundreds of years of conflict, the biggest enemy to the UK turned out to be its own Prime Minister. Yeah, just look at his fucking face. Look at his crooked... His nose is as crooked as his fucking character. He has no morals, he has no values. He has no principles. It's all about getting into power, staying in power. It's all just politics and games. He's a weak man. And it shows.
Let's be honest about why Westerners are turning to the far right. From the shocking election of Donald Trump as the President of America, to Reform UK being the most popular party in Britain, to the AfD winning seats in Germany, to Geert Wilders winning in the Netherlands, and to Rassemblement National becoming the most popular movement in France. Why is this all happening? Well, the answer is blatantly fucking obvious. And before I explain, for the sake of accuracy, yes, some genuinely are far right, others aren't. Reform is not far right, Trump is not far right, the Sweden Democrats are not far right. There's 2 major problems in Western society at the moment, and one of these we've been allowed to speak about, the other we haven't. So let's start with what we're allowed to speak about. Economically, the citizens of the West have been let down by their governments with varying degrees depending on the country that they're in. But generally, their cost of living has gone up. Their property markets are fucked. They pay too much tax for what they earn. Their wage growth isn't good enough. And inequality has become rampant in our societies. So all the while, people are poorer. They're working in jobs that don't give them enough leisure time to spend with their friends and family. Or they're ending up out of work, which means that they have too much free time available, and that makes people resentful. And by the way, with that, there is a fair case to be made that in some countries, actually, their welfare state is too generous, and that has meant that people have become reliant on the state. But regardless of where you sit on the economics, this stuff is okay to talk about. It's socially acceptable. So let's talk about the second thing, the huge problem, which I see as the main reason that people are actually turning to the right now. This problem can be summarised as the repression and control of thought and expression, particularly on issues like immigration, gender identity, sexuality, history, and even things like body shape, what is considered to be healthy. And the cause of this repression is the prevalence and influence of a radical left-wing ideology known as wokeism. An ideology that claims it stands for equality, empowerment and unity, but what it actually stands for is division, manipulation, social control and the undermining of fact and logical thinking. And the average person is sick to death of this ideology being the primary influence on our political establishments, left, centre and even some right-wing parties. They are sick of being told that they are racist for having concern over unmanageably high levels of immigration, and particularly migration from cultures that don't align with our own. They are sick of being told a one-sided view of their culture and history, that everything about their countries is bad, is racist and oppressive, when actually the reality is, like any culture and history, there are good and bad parts to it. They're sick of being told that scientific, biological facts about gender differences are actually just social constructs designed to oppress people. And of course that one gender is inherently bad and the other is okay, when actually both of them are equally as important to each other. They're sick of being told that they're transphobic when they support and recognise the struggles that trans people face, but don't believe that prepubescent children should be given hormone treatment. They're sick of being told that you're fat-phobic and not supporting body positivity when people are saying that you should promote obesity, something that is unhealthy and dangerous for people. In summary, there are many things we can see in this world that are common sense, but wokeism has tried to rewrite as being intolerant and bigoted, and if you think or dare to voice your opinion about that, you must be labelled with some kind of bigoteering insult such as racist, Islamophobic, transphobic, homophobic, misogynistic, fascist, the list goes on. And people in the West have had enough of this. They are concerned for the harmony of their society. They are concerned for the well-being of their families and their citizens. They are sick of illogical and hypocritical thinking and their politicians ignoring their demands. And the right are the ones who are now taking a stand to represent that dissatisfaction. So it is inevitable that a reversal happens, and we are seeing that now. I hope that the right don't go too far the other way, but it is about time that there was a readjustment away from this cancer on our society known as wokeism.
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, he spoke a lot of words to simply say, people have had enough and we want some common sense. We want common sense and biological reality. That's what he's getting at, isn't it? We've had enough of the nonsense. What we want is common sense. We want open discussion. We want fairness, equality, intellectual diversity. We want countries built on merit. And we want to be able to discuss things without the threat of violence and persecution, ostracization, losing your work, losing your friends. Like you speak about Trump and people will not be friends with you if you support him. And they think they're the good guys. That's the scary thing about it. Like when you've got two sides who are ideologically opposed, but they both see themselves as the good guys, that's when you start getting weird stuff like civil wars and like balkanization and things that you really don't want that. But yeah, people want to be able to, multiculturalism is a failed experiment. It's not a strength. When they say multiculturalism is strength, it's propaganda. Multiculturalism is a lie. It's a weakness. It doesn't work. It's a failed experiment and we need to talk about it. Mass migration, it's failed. You can't import millions of people while at the same time not building millions of houses and new hospitals and new roads and new prisons and new schools. We want to be able to talk about it. Gender is a bimodal. It's a bimodal. There is obviously more than two genders. I think you have to be a bit of an idiot, but it doesn't mean you start grooming the kids. Oh, do you want to be a different gender? No, it's a bimodal model. 99.9% of people are either male or female, and then there are some people who are unfortunately enough to have a genetic, for lack of a better word, defect, where they're hermaphrodite or something's a little bit off with them, where they're neither male or female outright. But it's a bimodal. It's a statistical bimodal reality that there's two genders, with some rare exceptions. But we now groom kids. We groom the kids. And we confuse the fuck out of kids. So just let kids be kids. If they reach adulthood and they've got gender dysmorphia, then by all means, man, we need to accept them and don't discriminate. But when you're 12, you shouldn't be getting fucking puberty blockers. That's fucking outrageous. That's mental. And you can't talk about it because you get called a bigot. You can't. You're allowed to talk about a gender wage gap, which literally doesn't exist, but you're not allowed to talk about the gender pay gap. You know, the amount of outgoings for a typical man is way, way higher than the outgoings of a typical woman. And even if the gender pay gap was real, which it's not, what they say, there's 77 odd on the pound or whatever, well, the gender pay gap is bigger. You can't just talk about things. You get these derogatory terms thrown at you. So yeah, what this man was saying, spot on. The people are leaning right because the right are the only ones who are pushing a message that closely resembles common sense and reality. That's the truth. You've either got common sense and you're leaning right at the moment, or you don't, and you're probably left. The only way you can be left-wing is to deny reality and deny common sense. It's the only way to be left-wing at the moment. It wasn't that long ago when it was the right-wing who wanted to control speech and didn't like certain things being said, and it was the left-wing who were the counterculture pushing free speech and anti-corporation sentiment and stuff, anti-globalist sentiment. It was the left not so long ago that were upset about all the jobs leaving to China, all the manufacturing leaving Western countries. They were the ones demanding something be done about it. Now they're the ones against solutions. I don't think there's been any shift whatsoever. I just think people are always going to gravitate towards common sense. Anyway, let's move on. I've got to rattle through these, man. I've got so many. Oh yeah. The NPC's all upset about Trump. I'm sorry. He won a landslide in the electoral college and he got the popular vote. Biden failed. We saw what Biden's failed. Trudeau failed. Labour are in, they're failing. France almost leaning populist. Italy populist. Spain, since Italy clamped down, a lot of the boats from Africa are now arriving in Spain. They're now going populist. Poland populist. Hungary's already there. Most of the Eastern European bloc have always sort of been a bit more conservative. Common sense is sweeping the world right now. And Donald Trump represents some common sense. I saw some guy going, oh my God, he pulled out of the World Health Organization. Good. Good, it's corrupt. It's got fuck all to do with health. It's got fuck all to do with health and everything to do with control. Why are we signing treaties that let this unelected body tell us when we are and are not in a pandemic, and when and why are we signing treaties that allow them to dictate how we deal with these things? They're not elected. Fuck them. Only elected people should be making rules over the population. What a great thing Trump did from the American people, removing himself from the WHO. Sadiq Khan, Trump's return brings March of fascism. God damn it. Do these people know what fascism is? Sadiq Khan is a fascist. He's an actual fascist. Mayor of London says incoming US president's return to the White House marks perilous moment for Western civilization. It means the end of fucking arseholes like Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan has destroyed London. Every time it's got a problem, he just says far right. Far right. No, it's far right. And then doesn't solve anything. Cannot believe London keeps voting for. Well, of course you can. Of course you can believe it. Something about inner city liberals that they just love voting for cultural and economic suicide. The more damage they can do to culture and the economy with their vote, the better. That's what it seems like. Here's an option that will help the economy and promote a shared culture with national values that we can all get behind and be proud again. No, they'll vote the opposite. You mention anything like that, the very things that will make their standard of life infinitely better, they'll vote the other way. They're mental, lefties.
One thing that gives away the International Space Station hoax is the women. Now, women on zero-G planes with long hair, their hair flows naturally in the air. Women on the International Space Station, because this is all fraud, no matter what she does, no matter how she bounces around, you would expect her hair to flow in the air, and it does not happen. Their hair will never look like that because it's permed.
There's this fucking nonsense there. People look at that and actually believe that they're up there floating in space. Can you believe it? And then when you turn around and say, nah, it's bollocks, they call you the stupid one. It's like, just fucking look at it. It's so goofy. It's so goofy. They think there's people trapped up there. There's no one up there. Look at it. It's fucking goofy as fuck. What are they pardoned for? What crimes did they commit that need to be pardoned? Why did Biden give these people blanket pardons? If they've done nothing wrong, why do they need blanket pardons? Nothing says trust the science quite like a blanket preemptive pardon. Exactly. What did you need a pardon for, Fauci? What did you do? And if the answer's nothing, then why did you need a pardon? Huh? Honestly. Nobody in the media really bothers with what Biden's done. Fauci's not... I mean, Fauci's a pretty bad pardon. I mean, he's obviously responsible for killing a lot of people. Now he's pardoned, so he can never be... I mean, I think they can still prosecute certain things, but they're not going to, are they? But Biden also pardoned that judge. The Cash for Kids scandal, if anyone remembers that. Where they got privatized prison system and a youth detention system, and they were quite literally paying the judge to hand children stiffer sentences, because when they got sent to the juvenile detention centres for longer periods of time, it allowed those people to make more money, because obviously the longer they're in there for, the more money the state has to pay them. And they were bribing judges. The judge got found guilty of taking bribes. He sent thousands of kids to lengthy detention sentences when they shouldn't have even been anywhere. They shouldn't have even been bloody given a detention, let alone lengthy ones. So yeah, thousands of children who just got a little bit naughty, a little bit rebellious, found themselves up against a certain judge. And that judge thought, well, you should get a slap on the wrist. It's your first offence. But no, they got sentenced to like a year in a detention centre because it made the prison a lot of profit. He got sent to prison for what he did. For some whatever reason. Fuck knows why. Joe Biden pardoned him. Why? Like, the pardon for Fauci is at least politically motivated, but why did you pardon that guy? What's the political motivation for that? It's just straight up evil. Honestly, Biden's pardons were criminal.
I love Great Britain, but today, Great Britain hit rock bottom. The walking, talking advert for the death penalty, Axel Rudikabana, was sentenced for the Southport massacre. He showed no remorse, he kicked off in the dock, and he is evil personified. But how was he allowed to do this? Caught with a knife 10 times, reported to prevent 3 times, he called child line and apparently said that he wanted to kill someone. They called the police went round, they didn't do anything. The authorities, in my view, have blood on their hands. But as Britain's biggest monster began his 52-year prison sentence today, I looked around at the other news. A man in a balaclava allegedly stabbed 5 people in Croydon today. One of the victims spoke to GB News.
He was basically stabbing people in a warehouse, at which point we had locked ourselves in an office, and I said it sounded like they were getting killed, so we decided to open the door and go and help them because it sounded like they were in trouble. At which point he turned around and sprinted towards us, and then got halfway in the door before I could shut it, and then was stabbing at me like that.
Last night, when I got home after the show, I saw this. A stabbing spree in Plymouth. A 40-year-old woman has sadly died. The suspect is apparently still on the run. Look at the front page of The Sun. Today, a 12-year-old boy was walking through a park in Birmingham. He was stabbed in the stomach. Unfortunately, he has died. A 14-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of his murder. Yesterday, a man admitted killing his ex-girlfriend and her sister with a crossbow and their mother with a knife after he broke into their home. Paedophiles caught with hundreds or even thousands of indecent images of children are not being sent to prison. They're allowed back out onto the street to just live their lives. This is ridiculous. A man was caught with a loaded AK-47 in Leeds. He had 30 rounds of ammunition, live ammunition. He got 5 years in prison, which means basically he'd be out in 2.5. We've got illegal immigrants running rampant. 1 in 12 people in London are here illegally. Just today, an asylum seeker driving an uninsured vehicle was sent to prison after he smashed into a nurse and broke her spine 3 weeks before her wedding. That's before I've mentioned the catalogue of asylum seeker rapists that we have over here as well. There was one bit from today's sentencing of Axel Rudikabana that stood out to me, on top of everything else, of course. Listen to what the judge says here.
What he did on the 29th of July last year has caused such shock and revulsion to the whole nation that it must be viewed as being at the very extreme level of crime. His culpability and the harm he caused and intended were at the highest. I do not, however, take into account against him what happened in different parts of the country after his arrest. He did not cause that.
The judge there,
Jesus
despite
Christ.
everything we heard in court today, at pains to say that Axel Rudikabana wasn't to blame for the summer disorder. Well, look, hey, I think he was. Now, I'm not condoning the torturing of a migrant hotel or any of that stuff whatsoever. But whether Rudikabana was to blame or not, personally, is irrelevant. It's all of it, isn't it? It's all of it. Every day, we see news stories like the ones I've just rattled off here. Every day, we get damning figures like this morning. The Home Office revealing the number of foreign national offenders living in the UK has tripled in the last 7 years. Or 2/3 of sexual assaults in London being committed by foreigners. It's all of it. It's every day. And it's all so avoidable. Don't let wrong uns into your country. Deport the ones we have now. Don't miss all the warning signs from a lunatic like Axel Rudikabana, who has literally screamed the fact that he was going to be a serial killer from the age of about 13. Our politicians should hang their heads in shame for all of the crime that we have, but our authorities should be doing everything to stop it. They should feel awful for everything. I love Great Britain, but they are making it unbearable, and we have to get a grip.
It's so true, though, isn't it? This is one of the biggest problems we face. Obviously, the actual crime and shit is fine. I mean, obviously, it's the problems there. But there's a massive problem that we have. Is that first of all, GB News. Like, try and get a lefty to watch GB News. All they're gonna see is GB News. They're the fascists. They're the right wings. We don't listen to them. So they go to the Guardians and whatnot. The Guardians don't report on it, and unfortunately, you've got a lot of idiots who develop their worldview through their consumption of the news. Right? If your news consumption literally doesn't touch on the topic, then it's never actually gonna come into your psyche that there's a problem. And when the people who do talk about the problem have been labelled with these derogatory terms like GB News, Daily Mail, and there's just right-wing fascists outlets, right? You've now got half the country who are just completely ignorant to it. And whenever you do bring it up in conversation, they just think you've been watching too much GB News. It's like, okay, maybe you've watched some GB News. But is it wrong? No. Migrants are committing crime at an incredibly higher rate per capita than the natives. And the nature of those crimes are horrific. It's rape and knife crime and running cars into people, ploughing. You know, in Germany, you got the stabbings, and you got the Christmas markets with the cars crashing in. This fucking, I don't even want to say his bloody name. The Southport stabbings. It's a terror attack. It was a terror attack. The motivation behind it was he said it himself when the various times he got caught. He wanted to create a spectacle. He wanted to kill people. That's a terror attack. All the stabbings that are going on around the country. Like, it's not just gangs now, but we've had a knife problem in the UK for a while, but it was gangsters, and I guess when it revolves around gangs, a lot of people can, and I myself, you can sort of detach yourself from it. They're just wrong uns, right? They're getting involved in gang life, and that's a dangerous life, and you know what you're getting involved with, yeah, when you get involved in gangs. Like when you join the army, you know you might go to war and you might put your life on the line. When you get involved in crime, gang crime, you know that you're getting involved in violence and your life's at risk. So you can detach yourself from it and just pretend and be ignorant. Oh, it's just the gangs. It's just the gangs. It's not that anymore, is it? It's not that anymore. It's little things. Innocent boys are getting stabbed. That 12-year-old did nothing. That 12-year-old in Birmingham did nothing. He literally just got stabbed. You've seen in New York people getting pushed on the railways for no reason. Just innocent people on the way to work getting pushed onto the tracks and murdered. Women getting attacked all across Europe. It's not just gangs now. We're now starting to see an increase in random killings. Right? We used to be able to put killings down, but most people know their killer, apparently. That's what the old saying is. Most murder victims knew their killer, and there was always a gang problem. But we've reached a point now where people are just setting out to hurt people. It's terrorism, and we can't talk about it because you've got half of the spectrum who are adamant, oh no, if we talk about it, people might tarnish all migrants with the same brush. So they don't have the conversation at all. They just call it right-wing extremism and bury their head in the sand. That's the problem. We're not having the conversation. Calling him the Amazon killer. No, it's not. There's knives available everywhere. Right? And I think the other thing is, when people say terror, they think of 9/11, they think of the London bombings. What people don't understand about terrorism is it doesn't need to be some mass casualty, global headline pulling event. Terrorism can be as simple as a young boy being radicalized, which he was, developing a fascination with murdering innocents, which he did, and then going to Southport and committing the crimes, which he did. It was a terror attack, and he was responsible for putting into the public light the problem that we face, and that's when the protests kicked off. He directly caused it. The fact that the judge refused to acknowledge that, it's just indicative of the fucking issues we face now. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He refused to give the boy the credit for starting all them fucking protests and riots. It's just why? What's the motivation? I don't know, man. Fucking hell. Why are you still wearing a mask? I don't want to catch the truth. Biology teacher after January 20th teaching the truth again. Shit. I was going to save this one for Tuesday. It's a funny one. Oh, God. 4 years of biological fact. Oh, God. Just 4 years. Oh, God, I hope a Republican wins after Trump. I hope Vance becomes... I hope America doesn't just keep bouncing backwards and forwards, left, right. It's just... America needs Trump to be radical. to just be aggressive in what he's doing. And then whoever's next just needs to just take what Trump leaves and just maintain it. Just maintain that path. Give it 12 years. And then hopefully, after that, so what you're talking about, what, 12 years from now, hopefully America has a left-wing option that aren't a bunch of batshit crazy fucking idiots. You need to get rid of the Bidens of the world, the Pelosi's, the AOC's, and all these other radical fucking idiots that don't know anything about culture. They don't know anything about the economy. They don't know anything about global affairs. They're not qualified. AOC is one of the most popular and well-known Democrats now. Once Pelosi leaves, she's like the queen of the Democrats. Once Clinton's fucked off, she'll be the queen of the Democrats. She's a fucking waitress, and you can tell. She's not qualified to do anything other than be a waitress, and she'll be a prominent figure in a political party. She doesn't know how to fucking handle culture and economy and social issues. She's a fucking idiot.
I'm not party, I have no allegiance to any individual party, but I knew they'd be bad. I genuinely,
You're definitely a Tory, Julia. You're definitely a Tory, trying to make it out like you're unbiased. Come on, Julia. You're a fucking Tory. We know it. You maybe even be reformed, but you're
wildest
definitely
dreams,
were a Tory.
I couldn't have imagined they would be this bad, and I never understood why people held a candle for Rachel Reeves. I always thought that Keir Starmer was a terrible communicator, but he was vaguely competent, and he got Sue Gray in. I mean, they had a plan. They knew what they were going to do. Yeah, they'd look after their own supporters, but they were going to, I thought, it will probably be boring, but it'll be steady as she goes. It's been so bad. Loads of drama, but the wrong kind of drama. The economy in the doldrums, looking like we could head into recession. They're going to try and take us back into the EU by hook or by crook. I mean, they're so dishonest. So dishonest and disrespectful of a democratic choice of people in this country. And they are utterly incompetent in every single area, whether it's communications, whether it's management, whether it's policy ideas, whether it's the economy. And you've got, Keir Starmer's incompetent. He can't do anything without an autocue. Rachel Reeves has got no feel for anything, no good judgment. Rachel Reeves is clearly utterly useless at her job. No way she survives the full 5 years.
Yeah, Rachel from accounts. Girl math economics. Honest to God. She's got a point. It's late. I actually thought that as well. I thought exactly this. I didn't like the Tories. As far as I'm concerned, the Tories have proven themselves to... They have outside interests that supersede their duties to the people. So that's obvious. The Tories did nothing but lie. They left the country in a worse state than they found it. That's all true. And when Labour got in, I believed this, like Julia just said. I thought it can't be that bad. Keir Starmer just seems like some boring guy. I thought maybe politics would get boring again. Yeah, I was hoping for it. And we didn't, did we? We got Bidenomics, Trudeauism. It's the same bollocks. It's the same bullshit. We basically got a World Economic Forum Davos supporting puppet, and despite the fact that Biden failed, Trudeau failed, France is failing, the Germans failing, the New Zealand failed, Australia are now going towards that as well. All these countries have seen it and failed. Labour are like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that stuff as well. That's already failed. What's up, brutally honest? How are we? Yeah, I believe this. I thought Labour weren't going to be that bad. It's only been 6 months and it's like, oh my God, what did we do? Girl math economics, man. Rachel from accounts. Let's clear the national debt by committing to hundreds of billions in spending, and let's grow the economy by taxing everyone, leaving them poorer. Only lefties think this stuff would work. Why hasn't this arsehole been arrested for genocide? Because he's part of the club. They live above the law. Already seen this one. Nothing, just fuck.
Several other wire fells that I've seen from NASA Cinema.
Hey, NASA
Maybe you remember this one
fun.
from NASA Cinema, where you can see the wires unnaturally lifting the back of the astronaut's shirt, just like Buster Keaton.
And a second wire bulges at his bum when he flies. But
yeah, I'm sure that's just perfectly normal space bum bulging that just seems to match wires and harnesses. How about this one, where the astronaut on the right in the USMC shirt actually grabs the other astronaut's wire? When he grabs this invisible object, it pulls the astronaut's shirt in a very strange way. That really looks like Buster Keaton, doesn't it? I also love this one, where the astronaut is hanging upside down, and the other astronaut on the right side pushes a button or something on the wall, which causes one of the wires attached to the shirt of the astronaut on the left to release. I guess he got tangled up when they were playing acrobats. PBS actually removed this clip off of their website, and so I couldn't share the original where you can hear the mechanism, but I'm sure that's perfectly coincidental. The astronaut behind him even reaches up at the same spot to seemingly detach the shirt from the wire. Of course, you can't forget this one where it looks like the astronaut flying in the back is wearing some sort of harness. I guess that's just an everyday astronaut harness that they like to attach to their butts for some made-up science reason. This astronaut seems to twist funny, like the wire is malfunctioning, and then she starts to fall before NASA cuts away. Buster Keaton comes to mind when watching that strange twisting. This is a great one where you can actually see the reflection of the wire. The reflection of the wire matches perfectly with the astronaut's movement, and it matches the bulge on his shirt. That's a classic Buster Keaton fail. This one is also hilarious as the actor from NASA accidentally gets the microphone wire tangled with her harness wire. Notice how the microphone wire is caught on something invisible, and then she has to use her other arm in a strange way to detach the microphone wire from the invisible object behind her. Is there any other evidence that NASA uses wires to fake space? How about this clip from an old video of mine? This company, called ZFX, which specializes in wires, stages, green screens, and performance flying. It actually looks like a pretty fun job. But you should go and check out their client list, and look who's there.
Yeah, they're not really up there, are they? You are no chill, brother. I just want to say brutally is old as the oil we brutalize Middle Easterners for. That's pretty fucking old. Allies, we defeat the Nazis. Nazis. Werner von Braun, head of NASA. Walter Heinstein, head of the EU Commission. Adolf Hausinger, NATO's Chief of Staff. Kurt Waldheim, Secretary General of the United Nations. We didn't defeat the Nazis, we recruited them. This is me. I made that one. This is the Daily Mail. I hate the Daily Mail. I hate all the media. They're pushing the COVID stuff. Like, the COVID injuries. Like, the Daily Mail are all over that. But Mel Gibson's a bizarre conspiracy theory. So when the Daily Mail are cherry picking what conspiracy theories you're allowed to talk about now. I hate this. People think the media actually like represent things. They don't. It's a narrative. One side, it's controlled opposition. One side produces one side of the argument, the other one does another side of the argument to produce the illusion of a national debate. With the actual questions that we need to talk about, the actual conversation we need to have, none of the media are having it. None of them.
immigration is a farce.
What do you call it? What do you call it? Undocumented?
Government. It's an imaginary line.
I dare you to cross the Canada-United States line.
White man. How dare you? How dare you?
That was kind of
I'm
racist.
a privileged white man too. But you know what I'm doing?
You just called me a privileged white man.
You cannot be racist to white people because white people are the dominant race in this country. Full stop.
You were calling me privileged when you don't know anything about me. I could have grown up in Section 8 housing.
This is privilege.
Okay, all right.
This
Tell me this. Tell me this. Tell me this. Tell me this. Tell me this.
Privilege.
Everyone thinks No Chill is Middle Eastern, but he just needs a fucking bath. Maybe he's just trying to hide his white privilege. That's No Chill's boyfriend. Maybe No Chill's just... Maybe he's just trying to just disguise his white privilege. These two are so mean to each other. I love it. God, that guy. I mean, look at his fuck... I'm not... Just look at his fucking earrings.
Illegal immigration.
Look at his fucking earring. What are you doing? White fucking privilege. Honest to fucking God. It's nonsense. The BBC literally got spanked by Ofcom for advertising jobs that excluded white people. Per capita, when you take a representation of the demographic makeup, minorities are overrepresented in Hollywood and on TV. They're overrepresented in the government, and we have all these the scholarships for university scholarships disproportionately handed out to minorities. There's no such thing as white privilege. There might have been. Don't get me wrong. I mean, things used to be pretty racist. Of course they did. But today, now, there's no such thing as white privilege. If you're white, you're handicapped because there might only be one minority. There might be 10 white guys and 2 minorities going for 5 jobs, and the 2 minorities will get the job, and then 3 white people will then get the job. That's how it is. They're overrepresented. They're privileged. No such thing as white privilege anymore. It's everywhere. I used to work for a big company, and there's more minorities than white people. I know. Jasper worked for some corporations. Jasper told me this thing. He worked for this company, right? This is Jasper. He worked for the company. He was building stuff for them. He likes his computers, you see, Jasper. And he worked for a multinational corporation, and we had to do these meetings. And the development team, he said, it was all white guys. And it looked really bad for the client. So they had a few minorities in the company who would come and join the meetings pretending to be developers just so it looked like the team was more diverse, because the client had DEI anticipations and expectations when dealing with everyone else. And now I just remember thinking, I said, what's more racist? us pulling these minorities in, or the corporation for demanding it? It's mad. They do a pre-screening on applying, asking ethnicity and etc. Oh yes. Jasper took his photo in his ethnicity off his CV, and he started getting more calls. But yeah, honestly, Jasper, they literally had to find the coloured people in the office, and it wasn't like the company had this issue with hiring ethnic devs. It's just the company just happens to be in an area of the country where it's pretty white. It's a pretty white place. So what do you do when you're sourcing talent locally? You're gonna get the local talent, and if they're all white, they're all white. And then you go and work on the international stage, and they're like, "Hang on, where's your minorities?" You know, well, all right, we'll go and find some. Pretend to be something while this client, honestly, it's fucking idiots that think white privilege was a thing in the 60s, maybe in the 70s and 80s. But honest to God, the shift. White privilege hasn't been a thing for fucking decades. He took my pronouns. I have to live in reality now. Yes, you fucking do. Yes, you fucking do.
So, for no particular reason, here are some thoughts on Trump's inauguration.
Not quite sure why that one's... Oh, some of these are coming up twice. That's on Iran, 1971. And then they experienced cultural enrichment. Now we're here. If people can choose their gender, I choose my race. Black British. They're then discriminating if they say I'm white. It's a good idea. It's a good idea, Joey. Going down the curry house to draft in the minorities for client meetings. I'm telling you, this is, I swear to God, that's a true story. See, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about that company, Jasper was telling me. It was a very ethnically diverse, it was a diverse place. There was plenty of minorities there. It just so happened to be that the development team he was working for was just a bunch of white guys. That's how it ended up. And don't get me wrong, these white guys, they weren't all British. There was a Hungarian, there was an Italian, there was a German, and then 2 British guys. All, it just happened to be white. So they used to bring in one of the designers was a girl, bring her into the meetings, and then there was a Oriental guy in the sales team. He come in, and then there was a black guy in the marketing team. Bring him in, and we all pretended to be devs, or they pretended to be devs, just so this multinational client didn't look at it like a white bros club and grow shy of working with us. And when you speak to them and when you're doing the work for them, all of the literature and the products we built and in the web pages and all the rest of it, it was full of DEI this, inclusivity that. It's like they just sell you fucking cameras. You know what I mean? Just sell your fucking cameras. It was a camera manufacturer. It's like, just sell your fucking cameras. Who gives a fuck about diversity? Well, why, like, do you need minorities to know they're allowed to buy cameras too? I'm pretty sure they know already. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure minorities don't go, oh shit, are we allowed to buy those? I don't know. Are they only meant for white people? Who thinks like that? Like the messaging saturates all of the corporate literature. But who's the message for? Like, it doesn't make sense. If you don't want to discriminate, then don't discriminate. Just don't do it. Anyway. I identify as King Von. Where's my Draco pistol? And millions of dollars. It's actually mad that happened. I know, mate. True story. Tories push to ban cousin marriage labelled Islamophobic as campaigners claim bill incites hate. This is the world we're dealing with. Hang on. The human species has a really low threshold for genetic decay. Inbreeding is really, really bad for our species. Really bad for our species. It's funny how when you want to ban it, the Islamic community get all outraged. They're inbred. What's up, Frau? How are you?
I don't know what Starmer was trying to do. I don't know where Starmer was trying to take the country. And you can see this sort of chopping and changing on domestic and foreign policy. You see you have an agenda for growth, but then you put up taxes on every single business in the country, and inflation's going up again, which is going to necessitate higher interest rates. I mean, it's all totally contradictory. On foreign policy, he says he stands with Israel, shoulder to shoulder with Israel, but he's simultaneously putting an arms embargo on Israel and threatening to clap the Prime Minister of Israel in jail. So it's just a total mush.
When Boris Johnson is speaking sense, you know you've really fucked up. I mean, the man is a proven liar. Off the back of that, we're considering incest to not discriminate. It's so true. Going good, man. How are you? I'm good, Frau. No, I've had a little quiet stream today. Just a little quiet Sunday night stream. That's the fucking inbreeding stuff, though. What is it about fucking Muslims and inbreeding? Why do they... It's like they're obsessed with fucking their own cousins and they call all their boys Muhammad. It's like... And then they preach diversity. You're all called Muhammad. And your DNA is like 99.9% more the same as normal people. Trying to expand the law, because inbreeding is actually illegal. I think in the UK at least, you're not actually allowed to. I'm not quite sure what happens if you do, but you're not allowed to, like, you know, incest is actually illegal, and obviously we need to broaden that, because I think the line is like a second cousin or something. Like, as long as you only share one uncle or auntie, that's fine, apparently. And, like, obviously we need to expand that, because that's still fucking inbreeding. And the second you try and expand it, the Islamic community are like, no! Don't take our cousins away! Like, fucking hell. Don't draw Muhammad, though. Oh, God, no. I'd like to keep my head, thanks, Joey. I don't fancy being beheaded on the middle of the street. Aniki MMA has a good video on Daggy inbreeding. Ah, yes. I want to definitely want to check that out, Frau. You know why they all use the same names? Makes it hard to catch them for criminal activity. It's the second most popular name in England now, isn't it, Mohammed? People think that people don't understand what that really means. It just means that you've got 6% of the population that call literally all their children Mohammed. Superman under fire after hundreds of images surface of him giving the Nazi salute. Don't take our cousins away. That's exactly what it is, though, isn't it? So, Allah Akbar. I want my cousin. It's only bad when Elon does it. Look at the Palestinians, a bunch of Nazis.
Good afternoon, ladies and gents. I just want to make sure that everybody understands the significance of what Keir Starmer has said in the last 24 hours. He has admitted to knowing that the Southport attacker was in fact an Islamic terrorist. Now, of course, he's not calling the incident itself a terrorist attack, although he is saying that the nature of terrorism has changed and that these lone wolf attackers are a new threat. So that
they act out as lone attackers. They act out on their own, but they are radicalized inside the community.
Seems quite contradictory in and of itself, but the real venomous, nasty, underhanded, evil part of this is that Keir Starmer has allowed British citizens to be sentenced and imprisoned.
I've got that.
For saying that the Southport attacker was an Islamic terrorist, on the grounds that apparently it was misinformation and stirring up hatred, when in fact the only crime these people have committed is that they have told the truth out of concern for British citizens. And these people, some of them, are still in prison. Keir Starmer has knowingly and willingly allowed innocent British citizens to be imprisoned for no other reason other than it doesn't fit with his political narrative. He is a criminal. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is a criminal. He needs to be arrested. He needs to be tried and he needs to be incarcerated. This cannot continue. The future of Western civilization is hanging by a thread, and at the moment, only Donald Trump and Elon Musk in America are taking this seriously. And
Nigel
myself.
Farage is as well.
But I am, at the moment, small fry. I won't be for much longer. And I just want to point that out to Keir Starmer. I say this: the Integrity Party is coming for you. I am coming for you. You will face justice.
The Integrity Party. Well, good luck, dear, but I don't think you've got a chance. But it's fucking true, though, isn't it? Starmer's come out and admitted that he knows about the Southport attack. He knew it was a terrorist attack. He knew it was radical Islamic extremism. He knew he got radicalized by that community. Yet he allowed innocent people to go to prison for speaking out against it. Snitches get stitches. Step up, son, and do something about it. I mean, he's the leader of the Integrity Party. The problem is when the country goes to shit, you end up with single-issue parties. And if all your issue is to be against Islamic extremism and putting Keir Starmer in prison, what are you gonna? You need like a policy. Anyway, imagine this guy running our party. I know. Thank God he won't be, but it does make a good point though. Those people are in prison still. They were telling the truth. Some of these memes are repeating. That's really annoying. If you homeschool your kids, they won't fit in with society. Society. If you homeschool your kids, they won't fit in. Good. Exactly. Jasper's got kids. I don't want them to fit in. I don't want to fit in myself. Why do you want to fit in? The world's gone fucking batshit crazy.
Some of us have missed the point. The TikTok ban is not about Donald Trump branding himself as a savior. At least, not entirely. The TikTok ban is a threat and a warning, a brutal reminder of a fundamental truth. The government cannot grant you rights. It can only seek to restrict them. Let me say that again. The government cannot grant you rights. It can only seek to restrict them. The working class started having too many conversations that they did not like, so they demonstrated firsthand just how easily they could shut down these platforms and shut off the conversation, dangling your free speech just out of reach, just to show you that they can. Allow me to remind you that you are born with the inherent right to the things that you need to survive that are naturally available on this planet. You have the right to food, water, shelter, autonomy, speech, self-defense, and knowledge, all because you simply exist. When the government enters the chat, they might claim to protect your inherent rights, whatever that means, but more often than not, they will seek to restrict your rights by any means necessary. Why? Because it is the most effective way to enforce control over the population.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I agree with all that myself, personally. Your rights are just your rights, right? The government can only restrict them. Makes perfect sense. 2025, imagine crying about TikTok. I know, man. I've got into streaming, but I'm streaming on everything. I'm not putting my eggs in one basket. Even if one of the platforms ends up growing, even if the dream comes true, even if my wildest dreams come true, Bodach grows, one of the platforms kicks off, and it allows me to make like some sort of revenue that lets me quit my job. And even if I get that dream, I'd still not go balls deep. I'd still multi-stream and be on everything. If your entire base is on TikTok or one platform, and then, like she said, the government can just take that away at any time. Can take it away anytime. I'm streaming on TikTok right now. Loads of people pop in, but no one talks to me on there. I'm going to get banned from TikTok so quickly. Well, look at that. He's drinking a glass of water just like Hitler. Nazi. Yes, we are back to only 2 genders, honey. Common sense is taking over the world.
Satanic pedophiles who want us all to be dirt poor, to eat bugs, to destroy a nuclear family, have no borders around our country, and ultimately submit to a globalist regime.
Correct. My news feed for the next 4 years. Oh yeah. Trump derangement syndrome. Innocent people don't need pardons. No, they don't.
Donald Trump has been in office for mere hours, but he is already...
Bollocks. Did I... No, this one's... So I thought that was the... Come on, go back. We're glitching. Yep, we're glitching. Of course we're glitching. It's not the Bodach Show about a glitch. For fuck's sake.
Donald Trump has been in office for mere hours, but he has already signed in 80 executive orders. I'm going to give you the highlights, but first, watch this.
What's this one? That's unleashing American energy.
Yes, that was Trump asking what he's signing. His orders include declaring a national emergency at the southern border, withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord, redefining birthright citizenship, pardoning 1,600 people involved in January 6. He withdrew the U.S. from the World Health Organization, attempted to rename the Gulf of Mexico, ended remote work for federal employees. He signed a ban to restore freedom of speech and end federal censorship, delayed the TikTok ban, and he rescinded 78 of Biden's executive orders, including an order prohibiting federal agencies from discriminating based on gender identity or sexual orientation, an order that allowed transgender people to serve in the military, an order that banned the renewal of private prison contracts, an order that applied sanctions to Jewish settlers in the West Bank, and an order that attempted...
She needs to sort of sharpen up her bloody jump cuts. I can't do it. The gap in the jump cuts is so jarring. I can't watch that video. You got to work on your jump cuts, woman. When you jump cut, it needs to be the sentence has to flow. You can't just it's jarring. If you need to be preemptively pardoned, you belong in jail. Yes, Fauci belongs in jail, and so do the Bidens. Belief in master race, check. Can't win a war, check. Embarrassing part of nation's history, check. Helped America get to space. Well, the Confederates failed on that one, didn't they? All the files look the same. The guy is pre-reading the summary while Trump is signing. I know, he knows, of course he knows what they fucking are. Plus, what is this thing that, like, do they really think, like, the president is just some guy that has to make every fucking decision? Like, yeah, he has to make the decisions, but he also has to have a team behind him. It's a complex job. You know what I mean? You know, he was just asking which one he was signing. But Trump, the thing is about Trump, people, like, even the same with any president, like they might be the president and stuff, but they might not have the legal clout to be writing these bills. So obviously he's going to have advisors and stuff, isn't he? Just to let him know that it's like he wants what he wants, but it's been done using the correct legal grammar and stuff like that. You know, oh god, there's just Trump derangement syndrome. When Biden's fucking half asleep signing shit, at least Trump's actually asking what he signed. Biden didn't have a fucking clue what he was signing. He probably doesn't even know he pardoned Fauci and his own family. One of his aides probably, I'll just sign this quickly, will you, Joe? And he just signed it. At least Trump actually says, oh, what's this? What is this again? Oh, yeah, this is what we discussed. Perfect. Let's crack on.
Having a fucking giraffe. This man is only guilty of hyperbole, right? He's just said that Elon Musk did a Nazi salute. What did he call Brexiteers for all those years? 17.4 million of us that voted for British independence, that this man has smeared and derided at every given opportunity. I don't know who wants to listen to this repulsive left-wing bullshit every single morning. I would top myself if I had to listen to this depressing dickwad every single day. And he says, what the hell can a British government do to rein them in? This is the fight they've picked. So he seems to be backing that this is the Amazon killer.
Ah, James O'Brien, oh my god. How's he still got a fucking job? I mean, look at his face at the bottom there. He is a miserable prick of a man. And he's wrong all the time. Help, I think I'm having a climate change. I wish I could talk about it. I've talked about the jab and that, and I got a bloody strike. I couldn't use my channel for like a month or so. The biggest financial contributor to the WHO, the World Health Organization. Gotta fucking hope Britain pulls out of it as well. Criminal organisation.
Britain is now the diversity and inclusion capital of the world. So while America's got this,
are only two genders, male and female.
We have got this.
Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix?
Look, is it transphobic? Look.
Whilst President Trump orders all diversity and inclusion employees to be put on paid leave, we have got this.
No, it's just...
A woman can have a penis.
While Trump orders all diversity and inclusion departments to close, and we have a colour-blind, merit-based society, that's what he wants, we have got this.
Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix, David?
I don't know if it's transphobic, but it's not accurate, Nick. I mean, obviously, it's probably the case that only that trans women don't have ovaries, but a cervix, I understand, is something that you can have following various procedures and hormone treatment and all the rest of it.
Let's cross back now to Trump's America.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life.
And back we come to Britain, where today MPs decided to discuss whether we should have more female footballers on birthday cards. Seriously. According to data from LinkedIn, UK organisations employ twice as many diversity and inclusion professionals per 10,000 employees than any country in the world. And we have the second largest number of diversity and inclusion professionals globally, behind America, but now obviously with the world leader, because Trump's just scrapped it all, hasn't he? We've got Westminster City Council posting a diversity, equality and inclusion job advert which discriminates against white applicants. They are looking for an individual who comes from a, quote, global majority background to become a permanent staff member with a starting salary of nearly 55 grand. They're using the Equality Act to do this, ironically. Apparently, Westminster Council needs to make £20 million worth of savings in the next financial year. I wonder why. Almost 15 million quid's worth of your money, taxpayers' money, has been spent on equality, diversity and inclusion roles in the UK's police forces since the beginning of 2021 to 2022 financial year. Almost 15 million quid of British taxpayers' money has been spent on diversity and inclusion in the police forces. So they can't solve burglaries, they can't solve rapes, they can't get knives off the street, ironically because stop and search is racist, but they can spaff nearly 15 million quid on diversity jobs. The NHS is advertising roles for diversity officers on between 80 and 100 grand. How many nurses will that pay for? Conwy County Council reportedly shut half of its public toilets due to lack of finances. But they could find the money for a £45,000 a year diversity job. In the civil service, diversity and inclusion employees are paid more than top trade officials. The BBC has advertised jobs that white people simply cannot apply for. This is madness. It's madness right across the police, the NHS, the civil service, local councils, the media, as it turns out. The priority has been diversity and inclusion. It's been all about race and ethnicity. Well, it's not been about quality, has it? Has the police force got better or worse? Has the NHS got better or worse? Has your council tax gone up or down? Has the civil service got more or less efficient? Britain is in decline. We need to grow up and get real. Put diversity and inclusion in the bin, hire the best candidate for the role based on merit and merit alone, and get Britain working again.
The problem about these videos where I just agree with everything they just said is I got nothing else to add. Like, it's fucking nonsense, isn't it? Jesus Christ. The CIA murders JFK. The Warren Commission absolves the CIA. Nixon knows the CIA murdered JFK. 4 of the 5 Watergate burglars work for the CIA. The CIA frames Nixon for Watergate. Ford is chosen as Nixon's replacement. Ford was on the Warren Commission. There you go. And Trump has just signed an executive order to release all this. It's just literally going to prove that the CIA murdered. They murdered JFK, and they also were involved in the murder of what's his name? Fucking hell. Only one of the most famous men that ever lived. Martin Luther King. The CIA had him murdered. JFK was going to audit the Fed. That was why they killed him. He was going to audit the Fed. I can't actually know why I don't know why they assassinated. I don't know why the CIA felt the need to assassinate Martin Luther King. That one's a weird one. But yeah, fucking hell. Dems are mad at Trump today for abusing his pardon power. Total presidential pardons. Sentence. Wow, look at Obama, man. Obama holds a record. Biden, 8... No way. I've got to Google that. Oh, shit. Can't type. Jasper, can you help me here, man? You need to Google this for me. Oh, shit. It really is fucking 864. That's insane. That mean, well, but Donald Trump's done a few more since then, but not many more. Fuck me.
You will remember that Nigel Farage described what's been going on with the Southport massacre as the biggest cover-up in modern history. You will know that I have tried to say as much as I could about this case without being in contempt of court. And you will see that even the Attorney General had issued warnings encouraging no one to speculate on the case. However, now that there is a guilty plea from Axel Rudakabana, news is emerging about the fact, and this will shock you and this will horrify you, about the fact that the authorities knew that Axel Rudakabana was a serious threat with terrorist motivations in the days, the weeks, the months before he stabbed those 3 beautiful young girls at a Taylor Swift dance class. The teenager who murdered 3 young girls at a dance class in Southport was referred 3 times to prevent the government scheme to stop terrorist violence, The Guardian has learned. One of the referrals followed concerns about Axel Rudakabana's potential interest in the killing of children in a school massacre, it is understood. His behaviour, including his apparent interest in violence, was assessed by Prevent as potentially concerning. But he was deemed not to be motivated by a terrorist ideology or pose a terrorist danger, and was therefore not considered suitable for the counter-radicalisation scheme. In the weeks after the Southport massacre, I was provided communication.
He loved knives and they knew it. He was being radicalised and they knew it. He fantasised about killing people and they knew it. But he didn't qualify for de-radicalisation programs. Are you fucking kidding me?
Between Axel Rudakabana and some of his former students. It was very obvious to me that this was a scumbag completely motivated by a terrorist ideology.
What's up, Aaron Tats? Welcome.
He was not the sweet young choir boy the mainstream media have tried to be painting him to be. And these referrals to Prevent clearly prove that. After the stabbings and his subsequent arrest, an emergency review of how Prevent dealt with Rudakabana was ordered. It concluded that the Prevent policies at the time, covering the criteria needed to accept someone on the scheme for de-radicalisation work, were correctly followed. This is a young man who then went on to kill 3 beautiful young girls, attempted to kill many more. Some people say he was attempting to behead many more at that dance class. And yet this government review, which has taken place behind closed doors, without any of us knowing, because of the way that our contempt of court laws work, which I think need to have a really good look at, because it means Starmer has been able to get away with all of this without actually telling the public what has been happening.
Fucking Starmer, man. No wonder he didn't want a fucking inquiry, right? Fuck the UK, yes musical, fuck it. Jasper, I'd tell Jasper, like, if he's got kids or anything, just like, let Jasper, mate, just tell them to leave. I've heard Poland's fucking based as fuck and it's alright over there now. They fucking knew. They always know. You're not sick. You're just under the weather. We'll get to weather control one day. If you're unvaccinated, you resisted global propaganda worth over $100 billion. The fact that you withstood such intense pressure shows how strong you are, making you a rare breed in a time when that kind of backbone is nearly extinct. Be proud of yourself. It's true. We are in the age of weak men. We're in the end of we're at the very end of the cycle of the four turnings. What comes next is the good stuff, but unfortunately we got to suffer first. They fucking knew.
But it's not just Labour going completely mad over this. The mainstream media are doing everything possible to try and somehow now pin this on Elon Musk and Donald Trump. James O'Brien, I think he's actually more deranged than ever. I really worry about what he's drinking.
The thing is about James O'Brien is the reason why they're more unhinged is because that is their career. James O'Brien, A. Thompsons and all the rest of them. When they're on that grift, they're on that grift, and that is what they're known for. And anything else, and they'll lose all credibility with their own audience. So they have to stick to the grift. And the reason why they're just more and more unhinged is because Labour are in. They got what they wanted. Labour are in, and they're failing spectacularly, and they can't stand on record. Biden failed spectacularly, which is what they wanted. Trudeau's now fucked. He's now out. It failed. France is going populist. Germany's going populist. All of Eastern Europe's already populist. Italy's gone populist. Spain are on the way to going populist. New Zealand, Australia, they're all swinging towards populism, which is the opposite of what they preach. And because they're on the grift, and Harry Sisson and all the rest of them fucking idiots, because they're on the grift, they've got nothing else. They can't go on policy. They can't go on record because the record's abysmal. So they have to go the unhinged route instead. James O'Brien literally can only get more unhinged. Otherwise, he loses his audience.
But have a look at this, Connor. I'll get your reaction.
It was on Amazon that the Southport killer bought his knife. Amazon, of course, is owned by Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos was sitting in the row behind Donald Trump at the latter's inauguration. The man who owns the platform that still hosts and holds the footage that the Southport killer looked before he set off to that Taylor Swift dance class, he was not just sitting in the row directly behind Donald Trump. He is the guy that got on stage and did the Nazi salutes. So I am not giving too hyperbole.
Harry Sisson's a fucking
the
mon.
aligning of these planets is at the very least notable. But what the hell can a British government do to rein them in?
Stop
Because
and
that is the
search.
fight that they
De-radicalisation.
Connor, I mean, it's clearly ludicrous, but can you decode that or dismantle it in any way?
He's either insane or the most disingenuous, disgusting liar on the planet.
It's the latter.
He's on the grift.
It's the latter.
He's on the grift.
Quite.
Yeah, he's on
Either
the
way, I
grift.
think he should be in a padded cell rather than a radio studio, and I think his dwindling listenership will put him there. Anyway, it's very circuitous to try
Is
to
it
connect
dwindling?
Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump with a deranged second-generation Rwandan who was clearly inspired by anti-white hatred and Islamist material. I think O'Brien is just trying to use the deaths of these girls to make a circuitous political point, and I think that makes him one of the most craven, disgusting opportunists.
No. James O'Brien is actually going through his peak size audience. It's actually the biggest it's ever been. You fucking shitting me? Fucking Mark's safe from believing Elon Musk is a South African autistic Nazi. They fucking knew it wasn't a Nazi salute. The disingenuous Nate bullshit. You see, son, people don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion coming out of your mouth. So true. People hate watching. James O'Brien's audience has been growing. Yeah, look. Didn't even spell his name right. Oh, shit, look. It doesn't even give you what you need to know unless you spell his name wrong. James O'Brien's audience has been growing, with his LBC mid-morning show reaching a record of 1.5 million listeners in Q3 of 2024. So that's literally last month. Well, the last 3 months before Christmas. This was part of a wider increase in listening across global stations. This just... Thank God it's only 1.5 million, eh? Hopefully that it's like 1 in 6. At least 59. What is it? 54 out of the 65 million people here who aren't listening to him. Although it's closer to 80 million because they don't tell us how many illegals live here.
You flood working class communities. The immigrants coming in turn the areas into shitholes. Crime is rife, lawlessness is rife, drug dealing and drug culture is rife.
Would you begrudgingly welcome refugees?
No, we're closing the borders. We've been too kind for too long. The vast majority we're incorporating we don't need. They're fighting age and they're here to spread the caliphate. Foreign nationals in our jail, 10 to 12,000 deported. Anyone who's on the right, you put a foot out of line and your door's coming off of its hinges. When you silence free speech, you create hate, distrust, resentment. We are out of time.
So does that mean that you'd ban the Islamic call to prayer?
Of course.
How do you think that would be received?
I don't care.
Neither do I. When you move to a country, you learn the language and you conduct yourself that respects the culture and the values of that country. If I go to Italy and want to live there, I'm learning how to speak Italian and I'm going to conduct myself to respect their values and shit. So why the fuck do they come here and not learn the language and conduct themselves in a way that doesn't respect our values and that? Fuck them. Get rid of them. Assimilate or get fucked. Southport killer stabbed 6-year-old girl 122 times. No one mentions that fucking bit. Wasn't just a fucking mass murder, it was frenzied. That happens when you're in a frenzy. Go and cop your arm backwards and forwards 122 fucking times right now. Your arm will be fucking aching afterwards. He was in a fucking murderous frenzy. I saw some people talk about bringing the death penalty back, and a part of me, I don't think killing is the answer to killing, but a part of me thought, you know what, on this one occasion, you know what I mean? Make a fucking spectacle out of it like the fucking medieval times. Town square, big crowd, leave them fucking hanging. Let everyone watch. Let everyone throw tomatoes at the fucking cunt. But that's wrong. It is wrong. Death penalty's wrong. Because you might... See, that's the thing. When it's clear cut, then yeah. But there's always the chance that you might fucking put someone to death who's innocent. So you have to then let the fucking guilty ones rot in jail instead. But then also, the death penalty, it's an easy escape. It's an easy escape. I hope he's in prison now. I hope he has a shit time. Man, do you think the Southport killer looks a bit like Gilly? I mean, if Gilly lets his hair grow, it would be a bit like that. And sometimes when Gilly's looking at the screens off camera, he looks like that. I don't want to start. I'm trying to curb my beef with Gilly. Stop trying to gear up my beef. Stop trying to create beef with me and Gilly. I'm in this beef with Gilly and I haven't done anything. It's calls. You call me to look at his stream the other day and he's in the middle of calling me a date rapist. A fucking date rapist. A fucking date rapist. I'm an alien. I'm an alien. What makes him assume I'm even attracted to your species, let alone a date rapist? Fucking hell. This beef I've got with Gilly keeps growing, and I'm putting no effort in. I'm literally just doing nothing. And I love how he I don't even think about Bodach, he says. He's got a stream from about 3 weeks ago that's 4.5 hours long titled Bodach. He's in for it. He dedicated a stream to me. He talks about me every stream. And he's he doesn't think about me apparently. Mate, I'm living inside his head rent free. I don't even know. It's like property that I inherited in a will and forgot about. It's like some house. It's like I inherited some property, some holiday home in another country, and I've forgotten all about it. That's the kind of rent free I'm living in his head. He says he doesn't think about me. He thinks about me all the time, which is weird because I really don't want to be the beef. He didn't know that the mad is mad stats. Oh god damn, fucking Gilly, eh? It's a billionaire thing you wouldn't understand. Oh yeah, Taylor Swift's now a billionaire, isn't she? Fucking Taylor Swift. She's another lefty idiot. Nazi fascist by the look of it.
And just like that, all the puzzle pieces just seem to fit perfectly together, don't they, guys? Axel today has decided to suddenly plead guilty to the murder of the 3 girls from Southport. Now, he was given this opportunity previously, but he chose to just stay completely silent, and now it's led to today. Now, of course, in the articles it said, to the shock of the courts and everyone else, everyone is shocked that he's had a change of mind and suddenly done this. Well, the British public have caught on quite quickly as to why he's done this. And it's the fact that now there won't be any looking into the actual evidence. There'll be nothing like cross-examinations. They won't be looking into the fact that the police have never treated this as a terror incident, even though he's had a specific manual and he had ricin. But there's going to be no more questions about that, guys. Don't worry, he's getting sentenced 11 a.m. on Thursday, and that's it. We're not going to look into it anymore. It's done. It's done, guys. And people wonder why the British public are so infuriated. It's because we know there's involvement with this. We know there's more to this. They just don't want you to know that. I mean, he was a Welsh boy, remember? He was a Welsh Christian boy with a specific manual. There's also rumours as well of, Starmer and his father. But there's also rumours going around of how well he was treated in prison and how he's been going off to certain places to go and pray. It's a really strange one. But suddenly, now don't worry, guys, it's been swept under the rug. It's disgusting. And the fact that it's just everyone knows the cover up. We all know it. It's not. And it's
people
not
are in prison for talking about it.
For how people were doing the thing with the grooming gangs, this needs to be treated the exact same, because everyone knows the involvement of quite powerful people in this whole situation.
Definitely. I like this guy. I'm almost at the end. It's been a busy bloody news week. I've got 72 memes and videos to get through, but I'm at 64. Oh, this is me. No, it wasn't. This is Keir Starmer twisting more bullshit. My government is securing the investment that matter to deliver for the people across the UK. This is basically, right? This is the government. The military has just ordered some tech from Rolls-Royce, which is good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because it's going to strengthen the military, and our military is pathetic. Our soldiers are the best in the world. And when we do the war games with other countries, Britain always wins. And our personnel are the elite of the elite, the world best. It's beyond doubt. And they're so good, in fact, that the American Special Forces, the Americans best of the best of the best, they're trained by the British Special Forces. They're the best in the world. But when it comes to fucking tech and equipment, it's pathetic. Our forces are so under-equipped, it's embarrassing. And it became really noticeable in Afghan and Iraq. After 20 years there supporting the Americans, we developed a nickname. They called us the borrowers. We were called the fucking borrowers, the 6th largest economy in the world. We were called the borrowers. Because although we have these elite soldiers, we kept having to borrow tech from the Americans to fulfill our missions. So it's obviously a really good thing that the government's finally investing in some new military tech. But look at how he calls it. We're securing investment. You haven't secured investment. When the military orders some stuff, that's not securing investment. That's government spending, you fucking Burke. What for? Labour voters look at this and they're like, wicked investment. It's not investment. It's government fucking spending. When the military orders stuff, that's government spending. But look at him twisting it. He's making it out like, oh, look at the investment we secured. You're the fucking investor, you fucking spastic. You're the Prime Minister. It's not like some foreign companies coming over here to build a factory that's creating tens of thousands of fucking jobs and long-term sustainable wealth creation. It's government spending, you fucking Burke. The way they twist things and lie, man, does my head in. Fun fact for you, which I probably shouldn't disclose, but the Reading military base, the Reading military base, where we stole our nukes and missiles, where we store our nukes and missiles. In Reading. I didn't realise I didn't realise we had on-land nuclear tech. I thought our nuclear tech was exclusive to Trident. They do test attacks and are supposed to have special forces doing it, but due to budget cuts, they get the TA to do it. The territorials, fucking hell. Granddad's army. Well, no, man to man, man. The British. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, we've had millennia of warfare and conflict. We've got so much history of failure and success to draw from. So obviously, when it comes to just training military personnel, honestly, I'm not underestimating. We are the modern day Spartans, the British men, the British soldiers. And it makes sense because, like, the Romans could never quite conquer the whole Isles. You know, we fought off the Vikings, we fought off the Normans. We held off the Nazis while the rest of Europe fell. We went to the Falklands and spanked them in 2 weeks. We were outnumbered 200 to 1, and we spanked them in 2 weeks. And we only took a handful of casualties. We are a potent military force, but we're so under-equipped. We don't have the tanks and jets and stuff that you need to actually conduct a proper war. But yeah, British, man, when it actually comes to our training, just sheer fucking experience. Obviously, we conquered a quarter of the planet. We conquered a quarter of the planet, mate. Like, we're fucking good at war. And we had, like, the French. I mean, don't let that blip in World War II fool anyone. They are very good at war. And they were our sparring partner for, like, a millennia. So, we're good at war, man. Like, but, yeah, we just don't have the tech. And that's the weirdest thing, though, is that British companies are the biggest arms manufacturers and the most prolific arms dealers in the whole world. It's Britain's biggest export is arms. It's the biggest export we have is arms. Yet we don't keep any of it for ourselves and our own military. We're such a weird country, man. We make shitty, weird decisions, man. We run our country like fucking idiots. Yeah, they do. The champ is here. Oh, look at Cheddarhead. My God. Right, on Thursday, please join the quiz. Don't let Cheddarhead win again. Don't let. Cheddarhead is the worst winner since Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's the worst. He's the worst winner since Conor McGregor. He wins a belt and never defends it and goes around thinking he's the big one. Yeah, Cheddarhead is the Conor McGregor of quizzes. Terrible winner, Cheddarhead. You're a terrible winner. And there's nothing we can do to stop you until someone defeats you in the quiz next week. There's nothing. You get the bragging rights for a week. But my God, you're milking it. My God, you're milking it. Trump orders release of JFK, RFK, and MLK assassination records. Good, Trump. He's also introducing bloody CBDCs and AI-driven fucking vaccine program, so he's not all fucking good.
Does it surprise you that Keir Starmer doesn't want...
Good job he got humbled last night. Who got humbled? Conor McGregor hasn't fought, has he? Wait, Conor McGregor faces off with Jeremy Stevens after his... Oh, yeah.
It's a national inquiry into grooming gangs.
No, that doesn't surprise...
So I'm just going to restart that one.
Does it surprise you that Keir Starmer doesn't want
No, Brutally, cheers for stopping by.
National inquiry... Does it surprise you that Keir Starmer doesn't want a national inquiry into grooming gangs?
No, that doesn't surprise me. It's exactly what you'd expect. I've got an article coming out in the Telegraph this week about exactly that issue, and so it's appalling. Well, there's hard questions that need to be asked about and answered about multiculturalism, and no one's willing to have the discussion, but it needs to be had, obviously. And I think there's maybe a way forward with regards to the signatories of the Abraham Accord, to have a serious discussion about how...
Oh, your FIFA stream. Yeah, I saw you did that. So I was with Jasper and his missus last night, having some nice chicken wraps.
Islamic fundamentalism might be brought under control, and some vision of how the Islamic and Judeo-Christian world could be integrated.
They can't be integrated.
No one wants to have that conversation yet.
What does it say about this?
Nobody wants to have the conversation because it can't be done. It can't be done. They're too idealistically opposed. You need one area of the world for them and one area of the world for us. And the only contact you can have is tourism and trade. We can't live side by side. We have to be separated. We have to be. It's the only way Islam can exist peacefully with Judaism and Christianity and Hinduism and all the rest of it. And the Muslims are always fucking blowing the shit out of each other. They don't even live peacefully amongst themselves, let alone the rest of the fucking world.
State of morality in Britain that grooming gangs were taking place for more than 3 decades.
No, that's what happens when a naive, demented, and self-righteous multiculturalism takes the upper hand, and when the upper class is willing to sacrifice the poor to their own moral presumptions. Yeah, it's appalling in every possible way. So, and it indicates, it's indicative of something truly hideous beneath the surface, not only on the rape gang side, but obviously on the side of the authorities that conspired to keep it a secret. Dreadful, pathological, inexcusable.
You believe you won the last game. Cheddarhead, football is quite conclusive, mate. You either win, lose, or draw. Fucking Nottingham Forest, man. They got spanked 5-0 this weekend. That is so out of the blue. Look, they're obviously going to lose, but 5-0. 2-1 Cheds, 3-1 overall. Okay. I'll play you some FIFA. I do want to get, like, I don't want to do game streams anymore. Mainly because I just want to talk some shit about conspiracies and stuff and do the quiz, but also it's just really difficult. I don't have these guys that do the streaming and the gaming, but I wouldn't if I could stay where I am now, but have like a console. I might get like the next gen consoles that are coming out soon. I might pick one up. Apparently Bournemouth are very good form recently. Yeah. I don't have FIFA 24, no. The thing is about the FIFA games and stuff, I'm a PC gamer, and for some reason FIFA is just a different beast on PC. You got a lot of people botting and all that kind of stuff, and you got all these things that like, yeah, it's too easy to cheat on PC. And it's FIFA for me. It's just for me. It's a console game. It's a console game at the end of the day. And I've heard rumours that Xbox are coming out with an absolute beast of a console. Apparently it's like fucking crazy good, and it's going to give you like 120 frames and shit, and it's going to have all the new tech of frame gen and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, because the reason why I obviously play PC is, one, I'm a PC enthusiast, but it is obviously superior. You know what I mean? I put on Cyberpunk and I put ray tracing on max, and I'm pumping out over 100 frames a second, and it's silky smooth, and it's like, you don't get that with console. Play Witcher 3 next gen update with all the ray tracing and stuff on, silky smooth frame rates. Console's just, it's upscaled way too much. The frame rates are too slow, and when you've been playing on a high-end PC, it's really hard to move. It's really hard to go to console. It hurts your eyes. Going back down to 30 or 60 frames a second, it does your eyes in. But yeah, this new next gen, man, these next gen consoles might be. Yeah, Cyberpunk on PC. Oh my god, Aaron. Honest to God, That's what I'm playing at the minute, brother. I'm doing a rerun. They got the Phantoms of Liberty City or whatever it's called, and I thought, fuck it, I'll just do a fresh run through. And the last time I played, I didn't have the ray tracing on because I was Team Red. I was on AMD, but this time I've got a 4080, and it's like I'm able to crank the ray tracing on maximum, DLSS with a little bit of support. Oh god, it looks so fucking good. It looks so good. Control looks amazing. I played Space Marine 2. Oh god, the graphics. You know, and obviously Jasper's got some mates who've got consoles. I see it, and it's good. It's fine. It's playable, but PC gaming, man. PC gaming. When you got a high-end PC, it's really hard to go back. Fuck Cyberpunk, way too much dialogue. I love the dialogue. I love it. I love a narrative story-driven game, mate. You got Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed games. You got The Witcher. Witcher's so good. Plague Tale Requiem, that was phenomenal. I love RPGs, man. I'm a proper RPG nut. Musical play Ninja Garden. Ninja Gaiden! I've heard about this. Oh yes, it's a remaster of an old Xbox game. I loved that game when it was first out. Phantom Liberty was amazing too. That's what I'm playing now, Aaron Tats. I'm doing a fresh run of Cyberpunk for the Phantom Liberty pack. This is me only just getting around to it. But this week they rolled out some new update with all different settings in the graphics, and I don't know what happens, but my game, without changing any settings, it looks twice as good. I'm getting an extra 30 frames a second, so like my 144 hertz monitor on RT Ultra preset is now maxed out at 144 hertz. It's like, what the fuck have they done? It looks better and it's higher frame rates. It's like, oh, honestly, it's so good. Fable 1, great game. I skip all dialogue in all games. No way. How do you know what's going on? The thing is about musical. Do you like movies? Because that's the thing that I love most about things like Cyberpunk. I feel like I'm in a movie, but I'm in control of everything. You know? And plus like CD Projekt Red, like it's what I can't remember the name of that. What's the bookstore where you have to like pick an option and you go to a different page number? Like you can play Cyberpunk 3 or 4 different times and have all different outcomes and stuff because of how they've mapped out all the storylines. It's really clever. Kingdom of Amela. I've never heard of that one. The worst thing about the updates is that you have to update all of the graphics mods too. Oh yeah. I've got a few mods on Cyberpunk. I got the auto loot mod. That's a must. I hate having to go from corpse to corpse picking up the loot. I just want to just press a button and it just loots everything around me. I mean, auto loot should be default. I don't even think you should loot. I hate the manual looting in games. It does my head in. I think when you kill it, the loot should just come to you. Even if it's going for realism again, who cares? Just loot. Just auto loot. I hate if I have a game and there's no auto loot, it's literally the first mod I look for is auto loot. Then you get the graphics mods. Normally I get the graphics mods because you can get some LUT plugins. So you can sort of give your game a more cinematic feel and stuff. And you can also get overlays as well, can't you? Like the graphics mod, I don't know what I've done the one that does the ray tracing thing. I don't know what it's doing. But you can't see the difference in the ray tracing at all. But for some reason, it squeezes like an extra 20 frames a second. Because the core game only runs at about 90 odd frames a second. But with the mods and all that, it maxes out the frame, maxes out my 144 hertz monitor, and it looks fucking lush. My favourite game mechanic is when you get halfway through the game and they take away everything you work for because they can't come up with anything new. I fucking hate that shit. I hate that shit. Cyberpunk is literally the closest thing to Blade Runner. I suppose it is in a way. I buy the game to play the game, not hear some yapping. Mate, Cyberpunk is full of fucking amazing gameplay. The first time I did it, I was just a straight up merc, just blazing the bullets. I just went in, guns blazing. This time round, I am going the Netrunner stealthy route. When I take down the cyber psychos, I actually keep them alive this time. I don't just murder them all. And I'm stealthy. And yeah, I got these adapters on my arms where blades come out of my arms like fucking Wolverine. It's fucking so good, and you can like leap to. You can play Cyberpunk in so many different ways. It's amazing. I will probably play it for a third time, and I'm choosing different options in the story as well, because I also like to do a good guy run and a bad guy run. So this time I'm an absolute fucking arsehole. And Johnny hates me. Johnny Silverhands hates me. I always go against him. Some LGBTQ plugins. I mean, you can get LGBTQ plugins actually. There's 40. You tried playing Cyberpunk a couple of weeks ago. There was 45 minutes of skipping dialogue. I can't believe you skipped the dialogue. It's like a movie, man. The voice acting and the storytelling in Cyberpunk is movie quality. If you're not into it, you're not into it. I got mates who are not into it. I got a mate who does nothing. All he plays is Rainbow Six Siege. That's all he ever does. Rainbow Six Siege. He's like you. As soon as he hears dialogue, he don't want it. And I got another mate who plays nothing but Fortnite. Yeah, I'm in it for that cinematic experience. Are you doing the ghillie run at the moment? I've got the clips. I'm going to play the 2 clips on Tuesday just for shits and giggles. And I want to incorporate into an intro. I do need to come up with a stream intro at some point, like a published video. I was going to go with the angle of asking people, like, basically just get loads of different creators to be like, I've never heard of Bodach. I don't know what Bodach. What is a Bodach? And all just try and get as many clips as possible of people just not having a fucking clue who Bodach is. Just I don't know. I've heard rumors, but I've never really watched his show. And then it just at the very end, just cut to Gilly. That Bodach's a date rapist. Okay. Like, that Bodach's a date. I just think it'll be really funny. Just right at the end, to set the tone for the stream. It sets the tone so perfectly. It's fucking date rapist. Oh my god, when he said that, I fucking roared. Jasper was with me and he was sat next to his bird and we were just pissing ourselves. It was so funny. Oh my god, date rapist. Of all the things you can be accused of, he picked the funniest one. And he said, I always think I'm right. I went, who the fuck says things when they think they're wrong? Like, everyone thinks they're right. It's like, who the fuck enters a conversation go, hey, listen, I'm wrong, but here's what I've got to say. Of course, what the fuck? I've never understood that. I've debated loads of people and they think, well, you just think you're right. I mean, well, yeah, of course I fucking do. Like, so do you. Why are you speaking if you think you're wrong? It's such a weird argument. Oh, Gilly, he is a funny sausage. He's a silly sausage. Yeah. You went Sandvastian throwing knives and blade arms. Yes, Aaron. That's a good run. It was a bit annoying that you can't use the blade arms in the when you have to beat the bullies. I did the same thing with Fallout New Vegas, Blue Mountain DLC. It was like a solid 5 minutes of me just skipping dialogue. Yeah, Bethesda. I'm not a fan of Bethesda. I love Skyrim, but Fallout. I couldn't get into Fallout. I'll ask random streamers. Have you heard of Bodach the Alien? Oh yes, mate. Please, man. I'd really appreciate that. I just think it'd be really wicked to have a really long montage of people just not having a fucking clue what Bodach is, and just at the very end, you know, I think Bodach's I think he's a date rapist, okay? I just think it'd be so funny. I still haven't heard your impression of Gilly, actually. I meant to go and look at that. I was literally occupied all weekend until about 7:30 today, and when I had to gather up all my memes. I am nearly done. Shit, it's fucking gone past 12:30. Waiting for Fauci to get arrested. Watching AI vaccines get introduced. Yep. Told how I'd ruined Bethesda. Bethesda were they were goated until they weren't. You should do a segment called Silly Sausage of the Week and just select Gilly every week. That's a good idea. Although I would I mean, Aid Thompson's also a silly sausage. I am covering Aid Thompson now. Every Sunday, I'm going to put a couple of his videos and break them down. I don't think I did the best job this week, but I'm going to break it down because he's always wrong. But yeah, silly sausage of the week. I want him to come into the quiz. I've got a plan. I want him to come into the quiz on the 6th.
Any risk of prejudicing a trial?
So this morning, Keir Starmer, he did a press conference about the Southport attacks. He told us that he is going to leave no stone unturned. He's going to do an inquiry, and he also used it as an opportunity to excuse himself for not releasing information to the public about the alleged attacker, Axel Ruder-Cabana.
I did cover Aid earlier. Aid seems to think that Donald Trump only ran for re-election to avoid prison. And despite several people calling Donald Trump a racist to then get sued for defamation, lose, and end up owing money to Trump, he's still on the bandwagon of calling Donald Trump a racist. He's so out of touch and misinformed. It's so easy.
Now, it all sounded well and good, but then when it got to the judge...
Yeah, we've already seen this Starmer stuff, haven't we? I've had enough of that tonight. God damn. Starmer's a fucking cunt, we all know. Asylum seekers loitering outside school is cultural issues, say police. Exactly, it's a fucking culture problem. Multiculturalism doesn't work. Residents of Dean's... What the fuck is that? Dean Shanger. I thought that said Dean Shagger. Dean Shanger in Northamptonshire have raised concerns about behaviour of migrants living in a hotel near primary school. There's a migrant hotel near where Jasper lives, right? The migrant hotel. It's only been there for a few months. And the local schools have emailed encouraging parents to pick their kids up from school and not allow them to walk home because of incidents involving the girls at the school. And this is happening in posh areas. It's not exclusive to London and Rotherham and the shitholes of the UK. These migrant hotels are literally popping up next to quiet, small villages. And then they loiter outside the fucking schools trying to talk to the fucking girls. Like 13-year-old girls. To the point where the schools are like, we can't let... You need to pick your kids up. You don't let them walk home alone. There's weird shit happening. It's fucking mental, man. Does Aid ever go live and read his chat? Yeah, Aid goes live. I think he does read his chat, yeah. His chat is just toxic. It's got fucking idiots like Supertansky and all that in. They're all just basically Tory bashing, Trump derangement syndrome, people who don't really have any kind of sense of reality. They don't have opinions based on common sense. Basically, their worldview is developed by The Guardian and people like Aid Thompson. Yeah, Mr. Pix. Hello, Mr. Pix and Pax. Yeah, Starmer's not going to have an inquiry. Keir Starmer owns musical. What's up, Malison? I haven't seen you for a while. How are you? Does Aid have a James O'Brien poster? No, but I bet he fucking creams himself every time one of them bullshit clips about how he gets owned. James O'Brien got popular, really popular, because he found the most retarded Brexiteers who didn't really understand the arguments very well, and he basically made them look foolish. I mean, you can do that to anyone. Pick a subject and find a moron who supports it, and you can use that to discredit an entire movement. That's basically what he did. He just talked to Brexiteers who didn't really know, they weren't very well rehearsed on the talking points. He showed them up on that. Then you get these compilations. Oh, James O'Brien owns Brexiteers. No, he doesn't own Brexiteers. He owns some fucking moron. Every time he actually had someone who was a real Brexiteer, like you got like, what was his name? That Tory politician. I can't remember his name. When he ever gets someone, when he talks to somebody who is well versed on the talking points, James O'Brien falls apart. He has nothing. He can only debate low IQ, low information voters. That's it. And people like A. Thompson believe those low information, low IQ people represent the whole Brexit argument. So yeah, he creams himself when James O'Brien gets involved.
That this had all the hallmarks of an Islamist terror attack. Now, the day after the attack, Starmer said that he'd been briefed by police.
To get a briefing from the Chief Constable and the emergency services about the ongoing investigation.
So, it seems he was briefed by police. Well, what did the police tell him? And then let's just add to this perception of a cover-up, it's just a perception, that we were all showing this picture of Axel Rudikabana, weren't we? There he is. And then today, after he's pleaded guilty, we finally get the mugshot. Now, a bit of a difference there, isn't there? A bit of a contrast. Why was the media and the public denied that picture until now? Does that not indicate that there's an attempt to portray him as a young, angelic-looking schoolboy instead of the evil, demonic monster that he so clearly is? Interesting, too, is it not? The fact that there's been quite a lot of debate about the timing of the trial. When it started, on the same day as President Trump's inauguration, the biggest news day of the year, and the fact that there was no indication that Rudikabana would suddenly change his plea at the last minute. For some, particularly as the victims' families weren't even in court today, by all accounts, it all seems like an extraordinary coincidence, that, doesn't it?
Of course the victim's family aren't going to be in the bloody court. I mean, imagine if your daughter had just been frantically stabbed 122 times. I mean, if I was in that position, I wouldn't be able to sit there while he stood trial. I'd happily sacrifice my life and a life in prison to get my hacking hands on him for 10 fucking seconds. Even if I didn't manage to fucking throttle the life out of him, I'd still go to prison for that. He stabbed one of them fucking girls 122 fucking times. You see the clip of someone pressing James O'Brien in public? I haven't actually, musical. I'd love to see it. Fucking monster, man. Look at him. Demented, demonic, Islamist fucking creature. You idiot libs really want to play this game. And it is a game. Who the fuck... They know full well that Elon Musk wasn't doing a Nazi salute. They know it. They know it. But they push forward with a narrative anyway, just to score cheap, pathetic, virtue signalling political points. And it's weird, because everyone knows it. The left-wingers know it. The right-wingers know it. The left-wingers push the narrative knowing full well it's nonsense. When you have to lie to yourself and all giggle as you lie to yourself to make a point, then you have no fucking point. You're just a spastic. Anyway, I think that's the end of my memes. Sorry, there was 72 fucking things. It was a busy news week. It was a really busy news week. I ended up with 72 vids and memes to show. God damn, it's taking me like... How long's that taking me? 2.5 hours. I haven't got time for bro code moderating, but there's fuck all on there anyway. Anyway, that's been... That was knowledgeable fisticuffs. Fucking tingles, Jasper. Jesus Christ. I tell you what, TikTok is so weird. It's telling me hundreds of people have popped into my live chat in the last couple of hours. I didn't get a single comment. I was well happy when I unlocked the TikTok live streaming, because I see people blowing up on it. They get loads of traction. It's like the algorithm's really good at helping small people get found. But yeah, hundreds of people have popped in, but no one left a message. Anyway. Nothing comes of it, I'll just stop. Yeah, I didn't see that clip of James O'Brien. I need to... Hang on. Yeah, shit. I'm live on TikTok now. I'm live on YouTube, Kick, Twitch, X, Facebook, Trovo, and TikTok. All right now, all together. The only one that people ever like watch or comment is YouTube. YouTube's the only one. It's the only one that thing. And obviously, most of that comes from you, music, or from helping me get going. Nobody ever looks at the Facebook, Kick, Twitch, nothing. I might get 1 or 2 views now and again, but mostly when I go and look back at it the next day, it's 0. No one even knows I'm on Kick and Twitch. X picks up some views, but again, no comments, no engagement. But yeah, TikTok, it's like you're looking at the chat and it's like bloody blah joined, bloody blah joined. It's like literally constantly blah blah joined, blah blah joined. It's constant people joining, but they never comment or anything. I think TikTok's not the one though. How did I get enough followers on TikTok? I actually bought them. Actually, my Jasper's kids helped me as well. Wait, hang on. I don't even know how many followers I've got on TikTok. 1,279.
This Ben and Jerry's TikTok is so absurdly woke that I presumed it must be a fake.
Stop playing. Oh, I don't know how to use it. 1,279. And there I am. There I am live. 79. There I am. But yeah. Fuck all comments. Can I get donations via TikTok? I have no idea. Come here.
I want to know.
When I first did it, my first stream on TikTok was the last quiz on Thursday. And Goose was on there. Fucking, I don't know why. He was spamming the chat the whole quiz, and he sent some diamonds or something. I googled it. It was like $1.50 worth of diamonds or something. But obviously I banned him straight away. Like, it's the first thing I did after the stream was ban him, and it refunded that to him. So yeah, I think I can get diamonds, but you can't cash it out until you've done. Also, you need like 10,000 followers, and you need to verify your age and all that kind of shit to actually cash out. Obviously got nowhere near that. But yeah, fucking Goose, man. Jasper's missus was telling me not to. Next time Goose tries to sneak in again, just don't mention him because he probably likes attention. First thing I did though, thoughts on Mr. Pixon drinking Mountain Dew Bar Jar Blast because he's Mexican. I don't really know if that's a thing with Mexicans. They're not allowed to drink Mountain Dew. I can get donations via Streamlabs. I do link the Streamlabs in my comments bit. But anyway, guys, it's like 10 to 1. I got work in the morning, so I need to. I'm heading off.
That I was probably wrong. Go to be blind. So I've got a little.
Shut up. I really don't care about TikTok though. I just thought it'd be cool to stream on it. Whatever. I look like, because Jasper's kids, you know, they're all teenagers and they're all on TikTok and they've all got like thousands of followers each. And I'm like, share some love, will ya? Anyway, so guys, thoughts on Emo Malison getting bossed around by his twink Indian boss in the corner shop he works in. Jesus Christ. They do like a corner shop though, didn't they? So guys, I'm going to leave it there. This was a really long ass that was a bit of a slog actually, my knowledgeable fisticuffs. I think next week I'm going to be more selective. I just need to pick the best ones and not all of them. It's really hard to keep streams under 2 hours but cover everything that I want to cover. Anyway, guys, yeah, cheers for stopping by, guys. I'm back on Tuesday at 10 p.m. every Tuesday. Got another quiz. The quiz is ready for Thursday, and a week from Thursday on the 6th, we have the next MMA quiz. for UFC 312. And I hope you all join. But please come back on the 30th because Cheddarhead won the last quiz and he's an insufferable winner. We can't let it happen again. I've not seen an ego inflate this big over one victory since Conor McGregor won his champs. I hate that bullshit. Why? What? Who gives a fuck about multi? Don't be a multi-division champ. Anderson Silva is the greatest champ of all time because he went on the winning streak and he defended and defended and defended. That's what a real champion does. A real champion gets hold of that belt and they take on the responsibility of finding the man that can defeat them. That's a real champion. Conor McGregor was never a real champion. And until Cheddarhead defends his quiz championship, he's not a real quiz champion either. Those are the rules. Just go on earlier. Man, I just can't. I can stick to 10 p.m. 3 days a week, 10 p.m. I can stick to it. It's good. I spend my sort of Saturday daytime, making sense of all the shit that I've been downloading from the 100 different WhatsApp groups that I'm in, and I do the quiz. The fucking Elon Musk's AI is fucking fantastic, by the way. It's way better than ChatGTP. ChatGTP is good for coding, and Copilot's good for coding. But when it comes to current real-time things, I literally say, I'm doing a quiz. This is a topic. I tell Grok that it's aimed at a male audience, predominantly in the UK and EU, and they like dark humour. Give me 50 questions on this topic, and I just pick the 5 best ones. It's so good. Nobody's defended yet. No one has. We've had 3 different champions. We've had a bunch of champions. But anyway, so I really need to stop rambling and go. I'll be back on Tuesday. Please like and subscribe. And on other platforms, if you would. It really helps me grow. And feel free to clip anything you've seen and share it on your own channels and whatnot. Yeah, I think that's all great stuff. Anyway. Yeah, Grok is so good. It really is. I'm on X Premium now. Honestly, my quizzes used to take me about 6 hours to sort out. I've got that right down to an hour and a half. I'm happy with that. An hour and a half. It's a good quiz. I get a bit of trivia about the answer. If I can see a way to put a joke in, I do it. If not, it's just an interesting bit of trivia anyway. So, win-win. But yeah, I can get these quizzes done in an hour and a half. So the only one I really need to put like 4 or 5 hours in is the MMA ones. Just because I want them to be good. And plus, that's got a real guest coming on. So I don't just want to half-arse it when I've got a guest coming on. Yeah, I do pay for Twitter. It's come down. It used to be 20 quid, so I thought, fuck that. But it works out about £9 a month now, and it lets you full access to Grok, and it lets you live stream on X. And plus, when you reply, you get further up as well. I've noticed that I get a lot more likes and stuff on my replies when I'm trolling politicians and stuff. You should follow me on X. I'm a fucking menace. I'm an absolute fucking menace on X. But anyway, guys, I'll see you on Tuesday.